Is arising. Hey, 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 hey. It has been very trying the last couple of days, especially today, for me to be on TikTok because I realized that it does not matter. Cluster B, having a cluster B personality does not matter. Is it doesn't matter what race or gender you are. There are, from what I have studied, there are cultures who are narcissistic. But one thing that I realize is that there will be people, they're flying monkeys on this social media app, right? So somebody says something about another race or culture. Hi. Another race or culture that somebody is, supposedly they don't want anybody saying anything about them. And I ran across this guy's TikTok, and I mean, this is the topic actually right here: cluster B personalities and projecting, which projecting means displacing responsibility of negative behavior and traits, transferring them to someone else. So I guess what I was seeing today actually goes on the topic that we're going to talk about right now, which is, people on this app gaslighting and bullying people because they're afraid that they won't get their sponsorship or whatever. So a guy who had been homeless, black, they had been homeless. I guess that's the pronouns. They had been homeless, black guy. He's been called an anti-Semite. And you guys, Phoenixes, know me by now, that I'm not going to be held to anything. If I'm speaking my truth by experience, I'm speaking my truth by experience. I have been called a house nigger. I have been called Uncle Tom. I have been called an anti-Semite. I've also been called a pedophile. I've been called everything under the sun to get me to shut up, to get me to dim my light and to deny that I'm receiving downloads and wisdom. So when you speak out, this is where gang stalking has come from. And actually, if you look up where gang stalking has come from, the history of gang stalking, it was used during Hitler. So, and I'm not going to go all into that, but just the way that they were going after this guy, and this was a guy who was previously homeless. He had been homeless for at least a year, finally got some housing, dealing with, I believe has some type of, I'm not sure, don't quote me if he's HIV positive or what, but he's dealing with a lot of stuff. It was fine when he was saying all that. But then all of a sudden, when he goes in and starts telling, how Israel is treating, the Palestinians or whatever he said, I think he said something about the Texas bombing and stuff like that. Now, me personally, right now, I stay out of that type of stuff, because I'm still going to speak my truth from the history that I've read and how I've personally been treated by certain groups. You don't have to like what I say, but you aren't going to slander me. You aren't going to harass me without consequences. And that's what it's projecting. It's projecting their fears, onto other people. And it's amazing to me that you have flying monkeys. There's 2 black females on this app, and that I had done videos specifically because they're a personality, right? They're a personality. So, they're going and defending. And that's what I told one lady. I said, you know what? Can you please stop asking if Massa is sick? Now, for those of you, I know I get people from all over. For those of you who are watching, when I say, stop asking if Massa is sick, it's one of those, it's referring to how what was termed the house Negro would always be, okay, what does the master need? What does the mistress need? Da, 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 da. And that's what these 2 broads were doing, but telling somebody that they don't belong, gaslighting them, bullying them, for trying to force them to apologize. Isn't that narcissism? Isn't that what cluster B personalities do when you speak your truth? Now, you don't have to like my truth. The topic, Raymond, is cluster B personalities projecting, and there's a definition of projecting right there if you want to read it. But yeah, so, people don't want you speaking their truth. The cluster B doesn't want you speaking your truth. The malignant narcissist, the covert narcissist, the psychopathic and sociopathic narcissist does not want you speaking your truth. But when you have a group, again, gang stalking, when you have a group that goes after people and other people know that if you side with this group, the flying monkeys know if you side with that group, you will get benefits. For instance, there's no benefit really except for social acceptance if you're an artist in the R&B and rap game and you're not black, for siding with black people. Right? And if you guys haven't noticed, and I know that a lot of people are asleep because there's cognitive dissonance going on, because there's so much trauma and drama that's happening, and we're not dealing with it in a healthy manner because we're individualists in this country. We don't know how to come and help one another and support one another and leave our egos behind. We don't know how to do that in this country, which is why a lot of people are leaving. Love to, because it's toxic. Individualism is toxic. But the people who were defending the group that he was supposedly, they called him an anti-Semite, but the people who were defending, it's like, you're going to get a payday. You're going to get sponsorship. And I'm watching them. I'm going to watch them just to prove myself right, because just to prove that I have intuition, just to prove that I'm an empath, just to prove that everything that I have went through for so many years was not in vain, right? So this projecting that is what's happening. It's like, okay, you're showing me myself, but I don't want to deal with it because I have the brain of a fucking 3-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old, and I can't process it because I need everybody to think that I'm perfect. I need everybody to worship me and praise me. I don't want you to go overboard, but I want you to say those key words and terms that let everybody else know that you're siding with me and I'm the best thing since hot dogs and apple pie. So it really hurt my heart to know what this young man is getting ready to go through after just getting off the streets, because they did the same shit to me. And I said nothing that was anti-Semitic. I spoke truth from their own books. So, and they came after me for 10, 15 years, and they justify it. So, and then there was a rabbi, female calling herself a rabbi, and I don't care. I don't really give a shit what you titled yourself. But because you have no morals, this woman has no morals. And she's trying to save her ego, because when you build, right? When you build a legacy off of the blood and harvesting and oppression and racism and slavery, you want to protect that. Now, if we're dealing with people with cluster B personalities, which that's what this is. So that's what I'm saying. I'm feeling sorry for this guy. My stomach's turning, and I'm talking to these black women, and I'm waiting for them to come, because this is a black gay, a trans person, I believe, or at least their pronouns are they, and just got off the streets. And I'm thinking to myself, so here are these two black women who are telling this black male, this black trans, this person, telling them that they can no longer be a part of the black community. Now, you see, this is why I've said in other videos, sometimes you got to leave your culture behind in order to get free. I gave my ghetto pass, my black pass, whatever they wanted to call it, back to them whole. You can have that, because I'm not going to be beholden to anybody. I'm not going to be told what to do, when to speak, when not to speak, whether I wake up every day with this ship. I wash it, I groom it, I lotion it up, I do some other maintenance, I make sure that it has water, I make sure that it has fuel, So how dare other people thinking that they got it all right? And it's not that they think that they got it all right. They're afraid because somebody conditioned them to be afraid to say what this young man said. Even though, as old as I am, it was said 20 years ago and they had the same reaction. You can't keep telling everybody that seeing the same thing. Let's say I go out into the street and I look up at the sky and I see the same purple polka dotted sphere. Everybody else sees it. But a group who's not right in the head, who have a grandiose sense of self, think that they're special and that they're invincible because they will go after your finances and whatever to make you sure that you pay. And not only that, but to shut you up because they have a narcissistic wound because you dared to let everybody know that they weren't the superior. They're pretty much frail people behind the curtain, as in the Wizard of Oz. But so these people come and say, no, this is orange striped and it's a triangle. And everybody starts disagreeing and calling them crazy and they start picking people off. What are you going to do? See, Black people in this country have dealt with narcissism. Before it was even called narcissism, right? So when people see how Black people have been treated, they're like, okay, what are the rules so we don't get treated? When people come over from different countries and we get along with them just fine, the animosity has been created. It's been synthesized over the years. I remember growing up, I never had any problems with anybody else. And when they had problems with me, it was when a particular group was in the room and they were conditioning, they were silently coercing these people not to think of me as being human. Because if you think that I'm human, that means that you're going to share the same fate where you have to struggle 100 times harder to be able to get into college. You're going to have to struggle 100 times harder to get a decent paying job. You're going to have to struggle 100 times harder to get somebody in the medical field to see you as human enough and not pass you off so that you can be seen for whatever is ailing you. To see you as valued. So that's when I see other Black, because it's been some generations now, 2 Black women nonetheless, projecting the master's tools, the master narcissist onto somebody who's just speaking their truth. And then I had to tell them, hey, don't come after me. Because I was questioning, it's like, why are you going after this person? Why do you think that you have the right? See, as a coach, it's like that. It hurts my heart because I know how I had to heal from that. I watch my clients have to heal from that. From being afraid to say anything to anybody that is not the norm, is not the accepted paradigm. It's not the accepted terminology to use. It's not the accepted buzzwords. It's not the accepted program. See, when you start Michelle Monet, or was it her Monet? She talked about Dirty Computer. One of her last album was Dirty Computer. So it's like, you have to reprogram yourself because you have all these dirty thoughts inside of you now. The thoughts that aren't healing you, that aren't uplifting you. How dare 2 of these Black women trying to get some sponsorship, I'm assuming, would come in and call this guy an anti-Semite because he spoke something that is not popular, and and then told him that he's shut out. That I don't get that. I don't get that. I get the pathology. I get what it looks like. It looks like a bunch of flying monkeys coming to the aid of a narcissist, of a classic cluster B, because they've been coerced. They've seen the signs. They know when it's mealtime, when it's going to be their meal ticket, right? So just wanted to get that out there. You don't have the right, and because it's like every day I'm seeing now, and it's not that I'm seeing it now. It's just that it seems to be at a peak where people are getting so mad that they're trying to project, they're projecting, and this isn't projection, people projecting their negative toxicity onto you. It's like your parents projecting their fears, right? Because they never went to college, because they couldn't, weren't allowed to focus on their favorite instrument or whatever. So they tell you that you can't. Because somebody told them, hey, you need to focus on getting a job, getting a degree, getting some health benefits and all that other stuff. Don't go for your dreams. Don't go for your dreams. Because somebody told them that. That's a form of projection as well. Right? When you're projecting the fear of a group of people coming after you and destroying your life. I'm to the point now where I don't care. I have been attacked. Attempts on my life so many times. I'm like, if you come and come, you're not, I refuse to even take a dying breath being bullied by a group of cluster B personalities. Right? So projection starts, from the foundation of when we're kids. Like even projecting, let's say, okay, well, we had grits and eggs growing up. And so now I eat grits and eggs, right? It was projected onto me. So, and I assimilated it, right? So the thing of it is that when we get in relationships with cluster B personalities, or we go into, we start dealing with cultures that are cluster B personalities, and we absorb that. That's the thing, is to recognize the red flags, recognize that, okay, these people are gaslighting and they're doing a real good job because it's so subtle. It's so insidious. Because the whole point is get into the cracks of the mind, right? Get in, just slide up on in there without even being detected. It just feels, they can't even feel anything, but you've taken a whole strand of brain matter out. Right? So that's the thing is not to let anybody know. But, sometimes it can be just as simple as, hey, I like this because, this is what I grew up with and this is all we had in the house, or whatever. And so now I'm doing it. Right? So, but when you get to with cluster Bs, when you start dealing with your own trauma and you release those trauma bonds, you heal those trauma, you recognize them first. You got to recognize them. See, and I don't think that these two women recognized what they were saying, because to me, they sounded absolutely fucking dumb. Excuse me for cussing, but they sounded absolutely fucking dumb. Like, I hope you get your sponsorships. I hope you get entangled in that psychological horror show that you'll go through. I hope you do. And I almost told a woman that, because I'm fed up. I'm fed up with watching people willingly go to slaughter and then try and take other people there. Tired of it, because I'm tired of seeing the pain, and I'm tired of seeing people that are confused and they're feeling guilty and ashamed when they have nothing to feel guilty or ashamed about. Everybody has an opinion. My next door neighbor seems to think that they can, because they're gang affiliated, so they're wearing all their colors. And so they seem to think that it's okay to step in front of my door and talk as loud as they possibly flipping can. Now, I'm recording podcasts, I'm editing video, and sometimes I just want to meditate and close my eyes and listen. Right? Now, I know where I live. But these are people who are trying to force me to accept what they're offering. Right? So that's part of gaslighting. Part of gang stalking is gaslighting, color harassment. All those of you who are going through that, color harassment, and just being persistent in doing whatever they want to do. I'm going to keep doing it because you're going to get tired and exhausted. That's what the cluster B personality is, and the flying monkeys really want. They want you to get tired, that you get Stockholm syndrome, and you start relating to them. You start feeling sorry for them. It doesn't matter if it's an individual or a culture. They want you to feel sorry for them, even though the truth is not being told. They want you to feel sorry for them. These two black women, I couldn't believe it, because I had just, I recently have healed from another stage of that. of somebody projecting for me, it's Black people projecting their Christianity. Now everybody's woke, right? So now that you're woke, before it's like, well, you're not Black enough then. You're not Black enough if you're not Christian. You're not Black enough if you don't support Black males who are misogynistic and womanizers. We don't talk about that. We defend them no matter what. No, I don't. I mean, it would be different if we could deal with things internally as a culture, but we can't. Right? Because everybody knows that you can get paid for buffoonery. Everybody knows it. So with this guy, it's like, I'm and that is exactly what it is, because with the cluster B personalities, they don't want anybody getting close to the truth. They don't want anybody saying anything that is going to cause other people to look at them differently, right? So they project, this is the topic. So they project their fears. They project even their negative and toxic traits, Like you'll hear, that's as many times as I've been slandered. Basically what they've done is they've transferred their lifestyle onto me. If you think about that, anytime people are arguing in politics, or even, just talking or whatever, it's like, oh no, that's not it. People are transferring back and forth what they're insecure about, what they actually do. Right? That's you're projecting onto somebody what it is that you're actually doing or who you actually are. When this first started happening to me, when people started accusing me of doing things that I was not doing, right? Or being what I'm not, right? And they know. And that's the thing for me. It's like when you call somebody, when you say somebody's a pedophile, have something to back that up. When you say that, because too many people will use it, when you have succubus and incubus cluster B personalities, they will accuse you of doing anything to be able to save face and to get their way. And especially if you've rejected them sexually, like you're not sleeping with them and you're not interested in allowing them to drain you of your finances, then you're going to be called everything under the sun but a child of God. But when it started happening to me, I had to think, okay, is there something in me that they're seeing that makes me this way, right? Because that's what they want you to do. They want you to second guess who you actually authentically are, because they have no authenticity. They've literally created storylines after storylines, generation after generation after generation. And they want people to pay for them having to do that. There are cultures with narcissistic leanings that are narcissistic cultures that still you work towards making other cultures pay for something that happened 1,000 years ago that they weren't even a part of. I mean, this is real stuff. When you really get deep into the healing and you become aware. See, becoming aware and becoming authentic is not one-sided. You know what I mean? It's not just one-sided. It's not just, sugar plums and ponytails and puppy dogs. You got to see it for the life for how it actually freaking is. Not for how somebody else wants it to be. So even if you start your healing journey and you've healed those trauma bonds, know this, that if you live in this country, you're going to constantly see it and it's going to piss you off. Because you're going to realize you're drowning in it. You're drowning in psychopathy. You're drowning in narcissism, whether it be malignant, whether it be psychosociopathic, whether it doesn't matter. You're drowning in the fact that there are people who are antisocial. You're drowning in the fact that there are people who are borderline personality and who are, don't care about you. Right? Now you'll get different kinds of narcissists. You'll get the introverted narcissist. And that's the worst. The covert and the introvert narcissist are the worst because you never see them coming unless you're in tune with yourself, with your energy, with your vibration, with your special divinely given gifts, which have been my saving grace. unless you're in tune. And say liberals do it to me all the time. I get called racist and I'm standing up for the first, second, amendment. Yeah. And see, and I know that's why I said I don't want to get into politics or anymore, because it's basically, it's just us fighting over shit that really does not matter. Really does not matter. And these two women were like, free Palestine. Really? Because have you guys been over there? Are you donating to anybody? Because when they were out here, when they were on TikTok, when the Palestinians were on TikTok talking about the atrocities, literal atrocities like slavery, like in the slave days, having their homes demolished and not knowing why, having their family members killed and not knowing why. And people are expecting you not to talk about that, not to point to the people who are doing it. That's bizarre. It's a form of gaslighting. It's a form of coercion. And that's narcissism. That's a tactic to silence everybody and anybody who dares to say, stop. Stop putting Libyans or Liberians in cages and calling them monkeys. And that's what I didn't understand about these two black women. You're talking about free Palestine because you think that you're so intelligent and you're so woke, but you have no idea who all the history of everything that is happening right now. Have no idea how many tentacles are out there and what their function is. They have absolutely no idea. Just healing, identifying the red flags of dealing with cluster B personalities and healing yourself is just as scraping the tip of the iceberg. I mean, it's just scraping it. That's why I said I am your guide. When you actually open up and you get, you healed, got to a point where you're okay, I'm good now, I can maintain. And you're going to be tried. You're going to be tried because when you get to that point where there's nothing holding you back and there's just pure energy and you start to understand how the world is functioning, like I got a new understanding of spirituality that has nothing you know what I mean? Like that has nothing to do with what was projected onto me, right? Like it's all right. You can read other different religions, do all that stuff. The problem comes when somebody is projecting their opinions onto you, right? They're projecting their belief systems. Like the pastor says, oh, okay, well, this is why I got this and I got that. Or a tarot reader says, I got a download and your guides and all this stuff. And I've said before, my guides aren't talking to you. My guides aren't talking to me. Or to you, to a tarot reader or a preacher. I mean, not necessarily, because I think that I've gone to the point where I can hear from them. And I always tell them, look, I know I'm a bit fuzzy right now. I'm dealing with a lot. There's a lot of blockages. Somebody doesn't want me to speak, and it's getting, and I'm nervous because anytime I can't hear from my guides, I get real nervous. I don't like it. I do not like it. Anytime I can't feel their presence, that's when I know that something's up. In the spiritual realm, I know that something's up because when I feel numb and I can't hear my guides and I can't, I'm hearing other stuff coming in that's not from me, right? But this is a different level, you guys, because you got to do the work to get to that point where you got to focus, you got to want it. Like I asked, let me see into the spiritual world greater than I do already. Because I was already getting glimpses. They just weren't formed. So as I can asking them, please, can you heighten that? Please, can you reveal yourself? Please, can you talk to me in a way that you know that I will understand? Right? That's why they want to limit you, because there's so much out here that God can use to help get you from point A to point B, to help get you. Your prayers do not go unanswered. It's just, how do you think that they're going to show up? It's having that limiting belief, and the Most High can only use what they can use based off of what you got stored up in here. When I was an avid reader, right? I had plenty of books that they could point to. Well, remember when you read this, so go and look up this term, da 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 da. Right? So basically what I'm about is freedom. Having your freedom and not allowing people, I don't care what you claim, no race is more special than the rest. You know, we have different abilities, we have different focuses, but you don't have the right to destroy somebody's life and to bully them under the guise of claiming that the other person is bullying or is anti-Semitic. When you start putting that label on people, that's a narcissistic tactic. And you can fuck off. I dare them to come after me. They've already have. So if you want to, come through. Come through. Because I'm about ready to kick rocks anyway, dude. Come through. You know, I'm so tired of the bullying. I am so very tired of the bullying. You know, I mean, before the projection, if you like Trump or if you support Trump, it had nothing to do with Trump. It was the ideals. It was the views that they didn't want people waking up to. Like, well, and even other black people were saying, well, if you like Trump, if you're voting for Trump, then, you know, this is a flying monkey, you know, no pun intended. You know, I'm not an internalized racist, but here is a black woman who's supposed to be a motivational speaker telling other black people that if they voted for Trump, that they were stupid. But she's a motivational speaker from Nigeria, I think, Ghana or something. Motivational speaker telling black people that they were dumb. I tore her up one side and down the other. Because it wasn't comedic. You know, so that's the type of gaslighting. That's the type of narcissism that's acceptable. Which is just crap. Just crap. All of it's crap. I mean, I've gotten to the point. I'm sorry, Phoenixes. I'm feeling some kind of way. I can't wait for Mercury retrograde and this Venus retrograde to get over, because I have really been in my feelings. And, you know, almost 2 months since, I think since I've had a cigarette. So I'm like, which numbed me a little bit more, a lot more than that. So I'm feeling deeper. I'm allowing myself to feel deeper, And so it's just, it breaks my heart because I'm tired of people hurting. I'm tired of people being bullied by people who are supposed to be mentoring them, supposed to be motivating them. People who claim, oh, I've gone through so much oppression and slavery this and slavery that, but you just got through telling this young black male, trans black male, I'm not sure if he's trans or not, forgive me, because these pronouns really do screw me up as far as how to speak about a subject or a person involved in a subject. But you're telling this young person that they are no longer black. And because somebody else said that they were anti-Semitic, then we're going to hold you to that. And that's, as far as slavery is concerned, the reason why black people haven't gone as far as they've gone is because they have Stockholm syndrome. You don't want to go as far, because anytime somebody goes, you're projecting your fears onto somebody else like crabs in a barrel. I'm going to pull you back down because I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be in this ghetto where there's gunshots and murders and child sex trafficking and drug dealing and gang members who have taken over, where we can't have any type of fucking peace. I don't want you to go. Misery needs company. At least we can have a 40 and some weed. And I'm just being real. That's the reason why, is because we have narcissists in our culture, right? However subtle, these two women are covert narcissists. How are you going to tell somebody else that they can't exist unless they apologize? So you're doing the master's work for the master. That's slavery. You still have a slave mentality. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is. This young man's asking for support. I don't give a shit what he said. I really honestly don't. He had the right to say it. Freedom. I mean, especially right now when people are having to decide whether they want to work or take a shot that they don't know is going to kill them. Do you understand how fucked up that is? And then you got people, thank you for the likes. Then you got people who are sitting there trying to say, okay, well, because they labeled you something, we're going to beat you. And the other people who are claiming that this person is such a thing are sitting back watching like, yeah, all right, go ahead and get him. Go ahead and get him. Man so sick. Go ahead and get him. I'm feeling better now that you're going after him. And they don't think anything of it. They don't think that they've done. I mean, I see it so clearly. That's one thing, Phoenixes Rising, that you guys have to understand and be prepared for. When you tap the fuck out, you're tapped out. You're not going back. And most of life, you'll just be, I mean, like, I don't know I know what happened, but most of the time when I'm on here and TikTok, because I'm just like, okay, I got to check, I got to keep social. I mean, I don't really do social media. It's because this purpose of being a life coach, being a narc coach, being a transitional coach, right? To go out there, to help people, let you know you're not crazy. The world is backwards. 1 minute they're hiding the truth from you, and then they're putting it in movies, and hoping that you get it, but you really don't, but subconsciously you do because you've ingested it. But there's no explanation. That's like me going to the grocery store, right? And going and getting all my groceries and expecting to walk through the cash register with no money. This is how we're treated. We're forced to be sheeple, right? By people with cluster B personalities. Because when you're sane, you don't try. I mean, like, I've heard people like you're doing all these positive quotes and stuff like this. I am not perfect, people. I am not perfect. I've told people this. I've told many of my Phoenixes Rising. I'm about smoke. I'm not going to doll myself up. I do want a better production. When I'm doing my videos, I want to bring you guys more quality, higher quality, better quality, right? I want to bring you that stuff that you can relate to. You bet. But I'm going to say what I got to say because somebody watching it's going to help. Thank you so much. Somebody watching it's going to help. And there's times where I don't want to post because I'm exhausted, but there are people who are being gang stalked, who are losing their minds, that need to see, look, this is what I deal with every day. You see how I'm thriving and surviving? I get people who are doing witchcraft spells on me. I get people who are trying to have a parasitic symbiotic relationship with me by merging their fragmented souls into mine. Spirits into mine. There are people who will ghost you and they're alive 5,000 miles away. People don't understand how complex our existence is, and nobody's offering it. So we got to go searching for ourselves, and it's a lonely road. And that's why I think a lot of people don't want to be lonely. I understand, you guys, I have not had a family or friends for like 20 years. Like, that's just real talk. Like I went through a certain part of my journey when I turned, and then things were good, right? Things were good. I was feeling good. I knew what track I was going to go on, And also, just a side note, I thought to myself, like, gosh, I've always been a storyteller. I've always been that motivational speaker. You know what I mean? Like, when you can look backwards and say, it was always leading up to this, but I didn't have a mentor. When you're growing up, you're going through paradigm shifts. You're going through, what do I want to say? You're going through stages like they say history will repeat itself. Fashion will repeat itself. But the fashion or the music or whatever that I remember, right? We're always going through these trends. That's what it is. We're always going through, and now we got social media. Before, when I was growing up, I'm Generation X. We didn't have media. We didn't have social media. We had to memorize phone numbers, pick up the phone, conk ourselves in the head with the receiver, and then gain our composure and dial. Like it was a cool thing when wireless phones where you could walk around the house and talk, you know, you know. Thank you. I'm glad that Baron. I'm glad that you can relate. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, so we're always going through trends back then. So when I was growing up, it was a trend to misdiagnose, and especially misdiagnose a certain culture or race. We were guinea pigs. You know, I'm the generation that made millennials happen. Right? I mean, we went through a lot of shit. Like I said in the last night's live. My mother, no matter what, if she's a cluster B, she's the only one that I do have empathy for, because I know what she went through as a child. And I don't know how any woman, so she took on that. So I didn't have to. Looking in hindsight, when you think about it from an unbiased, unemotional, and you're just thinking about it, it's like, okay, she took that on and it damaged her to the point where she was so fragmented, she was not coming back. That she had to take drugs, right? So it skimmed me. It grazed me. Right? So there's some times where you have to take that on. You have to take on your family's, whatever they've done. And I said, when I moved, to where I was moving, I said, okay, I'll take it on. I'll take it on. And I don't know why. Sometimes my higher self, I don't know if you guys can relate. Sometimes my higher self will tell my physical flesh self what we gonna do. So, yeah, generational curses. And my family was thick with them. And here's the weird thing, and just knowing my own spirit. Yeah, my family's thick with them, but it didn't mean that I was. Right? But I'm the chosen one to have to take it on because I feel it and I see it. So yeah. But yeah, so and so just taking it on, and it's been hard as hell, dude. I've seen hell. I've seen the demons. It's not a pretty picture. I don't regret it. But, it kind of takes you for a loop, Thank you so much, G Master 61. And thank you, that Baron. Thank you. Yeah, it's the goal. And was my goal, is to break the cycle. I'm not look, I know that I come from a royal bloodline, not just saying a royal bloodline, because just because you have royalty in your blood doesn't mean that you're going to be that royalty. That royalty is going to be in every, timeline, I guess. But I want to restore what is ours. I want to restore what's mine, because when you just start out, many of the empaths know, when you just start out and you're automatically hit with a barrage, like the demons just know, it's like, oh shit, she came through the portal. Damn it. We thought that no, she's supposed to go to throw her back, force her back in, force her. And I came in remembering a lot from past lives. So I already knew this was not my first rodeo. And I already knew how to identify the cluster Bs. I mean, that's like when I started learning about cluster B personalities, the narcissist, the psychopath, the sociopath, the borderline, the histrionic, the antisocial. I knew what Satan was and his kingdom, what that consisted of, and what the heavenly host was all about. So I knew how to identify, and it's like, that's what's so amazing, because you got to dumb yourself down, you got to dumb yourself down knowing what you know, right? And sometimes when you come in with memory still that hasn't been wiped, but you're fragmented a bit, you need to defrag, which just helps to organize everything, right? Remember in the old time, the computers, you used to defrag a PC? Yeah. And most of us do. And so that's why a lot of us, it's like, okay, fuck, if I can't, I'm going to get into drugs. I'm going to get into, because it's lonely, and it's not just lonely. It's scary because it's people don't understand, like people who are going through gang stalking. If you are a targeted individual, or if you know of people who have said, look, I am being harassed and I have been harassed for, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, right? This is where that comes from. It's because they don't want to, they want to make sure that you're dumbed down. They want to make sure that you're too afraid to be all that you can be. But then you can be that Heyoka, you could be that super empath. You can be that person. I mean, and I know all these terms that everybody's using, so I'm just trying to use the terms. But really, it's just growing to the point that they've tried to kill you for so many times, for so many years, for so long. They've done it to you that you're just like, you know what? If you're gonna come through, come through. If you're going to come through, come through. Because I'm numb to the shit now. Right? So when you're that type of person, when you're that type of spiritual being, like I'm the type of person that I'm not giving up. It's not because I have any pride or ego involved. It's just I know what I'm supposed to do, and I'm not going to give up. It's been a lonely journey for the last 20 flipping years, man. It was lonely when I was homeless on the streets for 3 years. It was scary, and I was mad when they were trying to kill me because I was not supposed to make it. It's hard seeing the disappointment in other people's eyes because you still have a job or because you made it to the new year. And you don't know these people, but energetically, you recognize the spirit. See, when you start healing and you get all this crap uncluttered from you and you start going into alignment in your divine purpose could be going through reading ancient texts and translating shit. So you can let the next generation know, or the people right here know, before we pass on. Because there's a lot of people who have a lot of questions. So it's hard, dude. It's scary. But that's why I started Phoenix's Rising Academy, because we are the ones who have risen from the ashes. People don't realize it, but for the last 20 years, we've all been going through stuff. We've just learned how to manage. We've gotten either toxic or healthy coping skills, right? Like I shared, me quitting smoking was not planned. Like me being a life coach was not planned, but when you're on the journey, shit just comes to you. It's like, oh, quit smoking, because that's how they're tapping into you, right? So they already know that you're smoking. They want to make your death look natural. So they're going to use witchcraft or remote viewing and astral terrorists to, try and enhance that and create conditions that you don't really have. That's what I was told. You have to quit smoking because they're going to use that to basically set a fire off. Not saying that quitting smoking was bad, because I'd already said I got to quit smoking. That's like, I'm tired of it because I'm smoking so much, and I knew that it was related to me having emotions. Like I am so sensitive. Like, orientation wise, people say, oh, you're a stud. And then till somebody dates me, and then they're like, God, you were the most feminine stud that I've ever dated. It's like, because I feel so deeply for people, because when your vibration's high, that's what happens. And now I'm choosing not to deaden myself. I'll tap out. I'll go into hermit mode because I have the right to unplug, but it's still very intense. Especially when the planets, and that's why I said, get into Vedic mantras, you guys, especially planet mantras. Because I just went over all these planet mantras last night, doing it again. Because those planets do affect you. And it's these things that you never taught, that you have, that they're there, but you never go deeper into it because you're preoccupied. Now that you're not, when you start doing your work and you get to a certain point, that clears up room for other things to come in, You said you went no contact with your family, toxic job, and starting my own business, very similar to you. Good job. You will do very well. All right. Good job. Good deal. Yay. Way to be in your purpose. Thank you, Jeremy Kelly. Appreciate you, hun. Good. After 20 years professional experience and ready. Good job. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and see what I thought, because I thought, okay, where I'm coming from, the reason why I wasn't choosing to be, I got to go do my rounds. But the reason why, I'm going to take you guys with me. The reason why I wasn't, I never chose to be, I went to school to be for filmmaking and script writing, for, just learning that. And because that's what I really wanted to do, was to tell stories, and to share my experiences and what I had been through. Because I felt like, I think many of us have those types of lives or upbringings that, where it's like a movie, Let me get this. There it goes. That's better. It's like a movie, gosh, I was like, God, I should be a serial killer according to, according to psychologists, with everything that I've been through, and I'm not a fragmented spirit. I think I've hit, recently, I think within the last 10 years, I've tiptoed on it. I've been on the precipice, but and I'm happy for you. I know I got stuck in the cycle. I finally woke up and stopped. Yes. Oh, am I still freezing? Okay. Sorry guys, I'm walking with you, but my Wi-Fi is on. Okay. Well, and it's weird because usually when I'm at this site, it's okay. My Wi-Fi is okay. But yes, and see, this is why, so basically back to it, it's like, okay, I wasn't thinking about all that. I was just thinking about how to be creative, how to share my experience, strength, and hope with everybody, and to make some money off of it, I don't think it's okay to profit off of your talents, off of your gifts. Like people used to tell me, it's like, gosh, you know so much, and people would come to me for free, and I'd change, people say, gosh, you changed my life or whatever. And, and it's not like, and it was just, I was like, okay, so, but I had been conditioned that I wasn't supposed to charge. I was just supposed to be giving. So I'm happy for those of you who are in your purpose and who are, launching, whether it be a program. And just to remind you guys, I have the program from Sealed to Healed, and it's 8-week program, and it's in my link tree. If you guys want to join, let me know. You can DM me if you want to ask questions about it. But really, if you just go to my link tree, you'll see the course, and we will meet weekly. And I wanted to do a group, but I think that a lot of people are just wanting to have one-on-ones, take the course and then schedule Zoom calls with me. Also, you guys have access to 60-minute sessions that I normally charge $90 for, just a coaching session to be able to prepare you for when, we go through all this, you do your healing work, you get your knowledge, because that's power, and your knowledge of yourself, right? And so on those sessions, we can either go through setting goals, or I can be somebody that you can talk to about what it is that you're going through or whatever you're still struggling with. Okay? So, also, if you're not interested in the course, you can sign up for 30-minute session with me for $20. And you'll also find that in the link tree. And but I'm not bitter. I'm just ready to use my skills and pay the bills. That's it. Yeah, me too. And these skills are very much needed. So anyway, yeah, go to my link tree. And again, I am doing 30-minute sessions through Squarespace. You can book time. That's where the link will take you. And make sure that you make your payment and go from there, right? So they'll show you the hours that I'm available to have the sessions. And those of you who are interested in the from sealed to healed. The reason why I renamed it, it was the 4-step, hold on, long of a title. Hold on, guys. Okay, so it was breaking free of cluster B, the 4 steps to your authentic self, and breaking free of cluster Bs. But it was too long of a title for you guys to say. So then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Basically, when you go through this program with me, you're being unsealed, right? Because you're a precious artifact. You're something that the gods need, right? So you've been sealed, though, through all the pain, all the anger, all the bitterness, all the fear. Going through the program helps you, is for your healing, right? So when you get out of the program, you will know and have wisdom as to the characteristics and traits of people with cluster B personalities. You will have my personal examples. And then you will have 4 steps: reveal, heal, grow, and show, to clearing away your trauma bonds, right? Clearing away and recognizing your trauma bonds, where the trauma, where the pain is lying. Whether it's, because a lot of times our pain can be very quiet. Pain can be very quiet. It does not have to be glaring, because sometimes when we're in pain, we look our best because we're being covered by the spirit, but it's deceptive. Yeah. Oh, cool. I'm glad you stopped by. But yeah, sometimes our pain is very quiet. So even if people say, okay, well, I already know about, the cluster B stuff, and I already know, sometimes we think we know. It's like a layer of the onion. You can't, I wasn't able to do it all at once. And there's still more that I got to go, plus doing the maintenance. I caught myself being in denial of some of my defects of character. It's like, oh no, I'm not going to start this shit over again. God dang it. So I'm glad I got called out. It's like, okay, maybe woosah. So, but you'll be able to do that for yourself without embarrassment, because sometimes we're lying to ourselves because we had to. And a lot of times it's sometimes our pain is silent because as kids, we had to be silent. What did your parents say? Oh, shut up. Ain't nothing wrong with you. How do you know? You just got through whooping my ass. Like, I believe my butt cheeks are hurting. My thighs are hurting. If you got whooped like I did, it was like a whip all over your body. So, yeah. So basically, we locate what needs to be healed together. You don't have to do it alone. Remember, I was on the streets when this happened, right? Like, just picture being on the streets and by candle or flashlight, because you can't sleep, because you're too afraid to sleep at the time until I got used to it. And you're writing. Or I would use my phone and the recorder. And I'm grateful for technology because it helped keep me sane while I was on the streets. It helped keep me sane. Because I'll tell you, there's nothing worse than I felt my brain just splitting, right? This is how Blue Phoenix Rising Media LLC is another YouTube channel that I have, where I go through some data of how I became homeless. And I'm writing a script right now, writing my treatment. And then there's going to be the full documentary, more professional. But I think I just needed to get it out. So if you guys go to my Linktree again, Linktree is what carries all your social media. So if you guys ever want to find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, make sure that you go to my link tree. And also, if you guys want to cash at me any donations, you can go hit the blessings tab on there too. Greatly appreciated. But yeah, I did it by myself. I was so grateful for it because I needed to focus like that. And obviously I could focus under pressure better. I could work under pressure better than I could having four walls and a roof over my head, right? Because right before I became homeless, I was suicidal because I was like, this is boring. My life is boring, but I'm too afraid because I had traumatic experiences in my being creative. I literally had teachers coming after me. You know, how dare you? You're supposed to do this math problem this way. How dare you make that comment? You know what I mean? Everybody in this country, everybody gets policed. People say, oh, America's free. No, it's not. It's not. You know, that's like saying California is a liberal state. No, they're liberally racist. It's just not white people who are majority racist. You know, other cultures are taking that spot. But it's like we're always taught to, you got to be one way or the other. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I mean, I have my personal core beliefs that are part of me, that are how I function. But in order to grow, you have to evolve. You know, so you can't let somebody, a group of people, even your own culture, tell you that you can't do something because that's not the way it's done for whatever reason. You can't let people label you for whatever reason, right? I had so many labels, and it's weird because hindsight has been 20/20 lately, and I've been thinking of a lot of past things. And I remember when I came out as lesbian, everybody would kind of correct me. Like, oh, autocorrect, you're bisexual. No, I'm not. You know? But they were trying to make me more digestible for them. They were trying to make me more digestible. And think about that in your own life. How many times have people said things that are seemingly loving, that have just so that you could be more digestible for them? Hold on, guys. Okay. 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 Thank you so much, Jeremy Kelly, and thank you for being here. That Baron, thank you so much, and way to go on your launch. Come back. I was mostly spitting, pulling hair. Yeah. So, and that's basically, I desire to create with Phoenix's Rising Academy a safe place for people to come and share and get training, get support, and learning how to re-love themselves, reparent themselves. Because that's what I had to do. I had to reparent myself. And I mean, God, I felt like I had done it so many times already. And I constantly had to just, okay, I love you. You're doing okay, right? You're doing okay. You're going to be all right. Okay. So God has this. So which made intuition all the more, listening to my intuition, all the more important, because it was just me. Like, I think it took me a minute to accept that I was not going to have a family, the same family that I was born into, right? That they were gone. They were so toxic, and that's what's hard for a lot of people. It's like, oh gosh, what do you mean that my family is going to be this toxic? you know, or what do you mean I can't change this person or I can't change that? And for me, as far as people pleasing, being a people pleaser, and, you know, my codependency, there's two types of codependency. And one is where you can't do without anybody else, where you're just so obsessed with being with somebody that you have to be seen with somebody, right? So you get so obsessed over it that you cling to it. You can't. And it's not out of love. You may not even love the person, but you're with them. You know, you may not even love the person, but you're with them for the finances. You're with them because you know their temper, and you know if somebody messed with you, you know what I'm saying? Thank you so much. Thank you, Jeremy. So yeah, so so my type of codependency is that if you see how smart I am and if you see how helpful I can be, then I'm worth something, because that's what I was conditioned, right? When I have my narcissistic abuser dad, the psychopath, you know, who almost shot his brother over a woman, over somebody who didn't like, you know, he didn't end up liking him. So, you know, grew up in that this was what I was worth. Because my father, I've said this before, my father was a colorist and he was a racist, internalized racist. He did not like black women. He did not like black women at all. And his focus was because of sex. You know, according to him, they were too dominating. So the fact is that he was a narcissist that didn't want to have a partnership. They can't have a partnership. They always have to be in control. But I was taught through him because he wanted to use me as a servant. And that's what he did. You know, so I thought that if I can do more for people and not ask for anything back, they'll see how virtuous I am and they'll love me. And that's not what happened. That's not what happened, because when you get exhausted and when you get tired, because you're giving and not receiving, right? You get exhausted and you tap out and you lash out. I would lash out at people. I would like, you know, just get your own shit together, you know, basically. Get your own shit together. You're not giving me anything back, you know. Okay. And so, yeah, but I eventually ended up getting out of that. But that was my codependency, was, okay, if I do this for this person. Now, then when I said I'm not going to be anybody's mammy anymore, that was just a term that I used. I said, I'm not going to be anybody's mammy anymore. And I must have meant it, you know, deep down to my core, because I felt a shift in the atmosphere. And people started looking at me different. You know? So sometimes we're not conscious of shifts energetically happening, but our spirit is, our higher selves are. And so when we interact with one another, that's what we're seeing. Right? I don't know if you guys have ever seen like a halo or aura over people, right? Like kind of like this little light thing right here over me, the little silhouette. That's like, sometimes that's how it looks, right? Or sometimes it'll be on one part of the body. Like one of my stalkers, succubus, she had this black aura around her midsection, right? And you know, I won't say what it was, but, you know, she had that around her midsection. And so a lot of times that's for us to see what they're dealing with, or what we're coming up against, or what is ailing somebody. If you're a healer and you actually can go in and lay hands on people and change, you know, the energy from like that, then you're seeing auras, right? You're seeing people's auras. Just wonderful. So anyway, yeah, that's the reason why I just want to be able to provide a safe place, because too many times we're called crazy, you know. And with the program, that's 8 weeks, so you're still going to learn how to break free of cluster B personalities, and you're still going to take the 4 steps to your authentic self. And that's just going to be, the 2-part. That's the 4 weeks and then 8 weeks. And actually, the one may be shorter than 4 weeks, right? Like we may just get together and have people speak, about on Zoom calls and take turns. It's like, okay, well, I'm still dealing with this, but this is the progress that I've made. You know what I mean? I just want a warm, welcome environment, structured environment where people can really just assert themselves, and not assert in the way that you don't have to hide your feelings because you're not around the narcissist or the psychopath, right? Because after a while, people get tired, of hearing it. They do. They get tired of hearing it. It's like they want to be friendly, but it's like, okay, well, they don't seem that bad. And then, you know what I mean? So you kind of, okay, I don't want you to really necessarily side with my abuser, but, and I'm tired of it. I'm exhausted, So even if it's not, if you don't take the program, the 8-week program, from sealed to healed, the 8-week program is $345. And again, that consists of 22 modules, tests, quizzes after each module, a downloadable workbook, and you guys can schedule 60-minute sessions with me, just separately, but only by the week, not double up. You can, as long as that you're participating actively in that 8-week course, you can schedule once a week with me, right? I just may have to spread you guys out for time and stuff because I do work full time, at my other job. But that's normally $90. So, I think it's more than worth, $1,000, but I want it to be affordable. You guys can make, I think it's 3 payments. I have it set up for 3 monthly payments. So it'll be taken out of your credit card and all that stuff. Or if you don't want to do the course, you can do, you can do the regular 60-minute session for $90. Or you can do a 30-minute session for $20, So just go to my link tree. If you guys are having any problems with signing up or understanding where to go, then let me know and I'll do a video on how to navigate. I'll probably do a video on how to navigate anyway to those places that you need to go to. Yeah, but... So the topic of tonight for this morning for me, tonight for many of you, is thank you so much, Jeremy. Appreciate you. The topic for tonight is projecting cluster B personalities and how they will project their toxic behaviors onto us. Right? And so the way that you stop them from projecting is you gray rock. You don't respond. I saw a video of a narcissist abuser, and he was calling his mother's child, the mother of his child, fat and ugly, and I'm tired of looking at her ugly face and stuff like this. And gosh, some of the stuff that's on TikTok is like, oh my God, like this is graphic. But then other stuff gets taken down that's like kittens, like what the hell? What the hell? Good morning from Montana. Good morning from California, Bad Bear. But yeah, so he was projecting his anger, his insecurities onto her. And the way that she handled it was she stayed on her phone. She sat there. She didn't respond. She was like, okay, whatever. Right? So that's how you handle when they start projecting onto you. Because as soon as and people don't understand this is about energies. When you're gray rocking, you're not allowing anybody, oh, hey, New Jersey. You're not allowing anybody, you're not allowing that energy in. You have to shut yourself down, right? You got to shut yourself down. So when you gray rock, energetically, you are like titanium. So, and they're trying to chip. When you respond, you are now a portal for all that negativity that's being spewed towards you. And those are some nasty particles, and you don't want it. Those are nasty ass particles, and you don't want to ingest that into your spirit, into your energy body, right? So when you gray rock, you know, because they're projecting, it's ding, 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 right back at you. They don't know what to do with that. Like, he couldn't help but leave because she was really not saying anything. I got scared because he was right behind her. I was like, okay, I hope he's not one of these abusers that likes to lay hands, you know, because sometimes they get frustrated. They throw a tantrum. People say, oh, it's a narcissistic rage. No, that's tantrum. That's a tantrum. That's a baby throwing a tantrum because the baby didn't get what it wanted. It's in its ego, right? So that's a baby throwing its tantrum, right? I remember when the succubus was like, got turned down, she started throwing a tantrum. You know, I mean, I didn't understand. It's like, dude, you're married. You're not attractive. I'm not focused on you. I'm focused on building my coaching business and my videography, my production company, and going from there. I'm not concerned about you. You're not, you know what I'm saying? But they throw tantrums when you tell them no because they can't handle it. Like, what do you mean no? Right? But you can say no, right? And still keep going. But when you gray rock, how you deal with them projecting their stuff onto you is through gray rocking. You don't respond because you're not going to be, don't allow yourself to be a portal for them to shoot their projectiles through, right? You don't want them shooting their projectiles into you. That's basic bottom line. You don't want that. So you gray rock. And gray rock is, this woman did a beautiful job. Beautiful job. Like, I was scared for her, but I know could tell that she was nervous herself because it's crazy making to have somebody spewing all this hate and all this, you know, demonic energy over you for no reason, but that they're just can't handle living life themselves. But it's so natural and normal to them, right? But it's not natural and normal to us. So, you know, again, you stop projecting by shutting down, by gray rocking, right? And the other thing is too, is, you know, people think some of these people get into because of their weight, right? When I was on the streets, I got to learn the devil's tactics. And which I do believe that anybody with a cluster B personality is demon possessed. And, you know, that's how I believe, because I've seen it too many times. I've seen it with my own sister, with the golden child. I've seen it. I've seen, and not only have I seen the emptiness and the chaos inside of her, I've seen it in the spiritual realm, where she had come to me, and it was absolutely disgusting. But she was in another form. It was like she was a demon. You know, like it was uncomfortable. And I've sometimes I don't like talking about it because, but it's what happened. It's what happened. I'm not saying anything that I didn't experience. I don't have any reason, you know, to go that route. But it made me throw up. It made me sick to my stomach. And what she was doing only is evil. You know, we talk about emotional incest, right? Which is something that another topic that I'll bring up probably, if not tomorrow, the next day. Emotional incest is when a parent replaces their partner with the child, tries to make the child into their image. That's the golden child, basically. You know, sometimes it may not be, but that's basically how the golden child is groomed, through emotional incest. And my little sister was groomed through emotional incest, you know, but I mean, she was always the one that my mother was always so proud of, you know. Oh, well, you're not, at least Keisha already has a wife and she has this and she has that. What she's not telling you is that Keisha is a scammer. You know, I mean, I am not, I don't slip on, I'm not, you know, jealous on anybody's grind, but, you know, that's, you know, little golden girl is a scammer, you know, but I mean, because I know how much it costs to live here. Now, whatever she makes is whatever she makes. Whatever her wife makes is whatever her wife makes, right? We all have different destinations. We all have different life purposes. But that was the triangulation that my biological mother was doing, right? It's like, well, you're not like your younger sister. You know, what's wrong with you? Even she said, well, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you dating? Because that's not my spirit is not equally yoked, I'm not dating anybody. If I don't feel safe in an environment, and you know, when the environment is not I'm not settling. Are you crazy? After everything that I've been through, everything I've worked so hard for? No, I'm not. I mean, and I have no shame in saying that the person needs to make at least 7 figures. You know, I mean, because I know my value, I know my worth, because when we're not fighting and arguing over money, right, then you're focused on my mind, you're focused on my heart, you're focused on who I am as a person. Too many times I've been in relationships when I was younger, and I stopped dating at 25, you know, and then I would get people who would get pissed off because they were like, I want to have sex. You know, I heard this person say, I just want to have sex. Well, you're gonna have to have sex with somebody else, because I'm not in a relationship to have sex. You know, and a lot of people really have sex. And I've said this before in another video on my profile. I said, you know, people don't have sex to give. They don't have sex to heal. You know, they have sex to dump, like literally just dump. What do I want to have sex with somebody for who doesn't know what colors I like, who doesn't know what my favorite drink is, right? Who doesn't know when I have anxiety? Why would I want to have sex with somebody, right? I mean, that's what healthy people, it's like, if I'm not energetically, if we're not equally yoked, we're not equally yoked. Like right now, I have no desire. And it's really scary. Like if I were to be brought into alignment with my kin, I don't know if I would know what to do, you know, like, because it's been that long since I've been in a relationship. Because it's totally been a spiritual journey. It's totally been a generational curse, cutting, elevating, you know, let's create a legacy of prosperity, of, you know, get some land, get all this, you know what I mean? And it's not just the material, but I've worked on the spiritual. So now the material has to manifest outside of it. You know, that's what I'm talking about. And it doesn't matter if I'm making anywhere near that amount. It really doesn't. I believe that I will be at some point in time. You know, my life's not over yet. So I believe that I will be making that at some point in time. But I am not going to I'm not going to partner with poverty. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Whether it's me or them. Let me say that. You know, not that I need to excuse myself, but let me say that I just add that tidbit. That whether it's me or them, you know, I don't feel comfortable in not making the amount that I would like to make every month. So I'm not going to tolerate somebody who's not making the amount that I want to make every month either. You know, you get to wait. But see, it's my decision, right? Because I've been single for 20 years, focused on myself. Not in a narcissistic way, but focus on, you know, changing old patterns surrounding money, surrounding relationships, surrounding what I have access to. So what is freedom? You know, who is God? What is spirituality? Where am I going from here? What type of crap did my family get into that I need to help get us out of? Who am I? What's my purpose? What's my goal? That's what I'm focused on. Right? So it goes both ways with me. Does go both ways with me. Because I personally don't feel comfortable. You know, if I'm not because right now people are having to work 3 or 4 jobs. You know, I'm still putting in applications, right? But I've been blessed enough to be able to have a good paying job right now, right? And to be able to sustain. And so that way I can be here for you guys and, you know, create the programs that I need to create, write the scripts and the books and the journals that I need to write so I can put them on. Hey, so I can put them on sale and just, you know, do what I need to do. Because sometimes, I mean, You know, when people say that they're really having the courage, you really are having the courage to quit your job. And I mean, it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of faith in yourself too, and in the Most High, to be able to say, okay, I'm going to go jump out on a limb, and I am going to make sure that I do something that I enjoy doing, and I live out my dream, right? And I think that's what a lot of people need to be focusing on right now, you know, because I see this so much on social media. It's like, I don't want to, what I want you guys to take away from me is that you've gotten some wisdom, right? What I want you to take away is that I've been through a lot, and so therefore I can help you. There's not going to be anything that you're going to tell me that I'm going to be shy about. And I said this when I was 15. Like, you know, and I thought about this the other day too. Like I said, it's been really retrospective and, you know, cathartic, and been a lot of stuff coming up for me in my own. Still, the healing never stops. The growing never stops. The transformation never stops. You know, we are constantly growing and transforming and updating and whatever. And I got teary-eyed because I was like, gosh, I said this, you know, when I was 15, 20 or whatever. I said, you know, you know, people, I've been through so much that I don't blink an eye at it. You know, I mean, like, it's not going to be that I won't feel some type of emotions behind it, but there's no reason for my clients to feel embarrassed, right? There's no reason to feel embarrassed, because that's why I keep sharing with you guys what I've been through, you know, how Phoenix is rising in both the production company and the coaching and NARC coaching came about, were constructed, were built, was off of me going through my dark nights of the soul, going on my hero's journey, right? And getting that what was so lodged inside of me, you know, but it's like a sliver. Sometimes we got that sliver inside the finger or whatever that we just can't get, and we're picking until finally we got to get a needle or something to dig that puppy out, right? So they came about because I was in the ashes. My life had burnt down, right? Because found everything from top to bottom was gone. My filmmaking equipment, my hard drives. I had over 100 fragrances. I had over 1,000 candle labels over probably about 5 years. 5 years of building up. You know, 5 years of building up, and somebody took that from me. I couldn't get that stuff back. I had cameras, I had green screens, I had backdrops, I had everything for a production company, I had everything for a candle business, right? And the hard drives had my scripts and everything on it. I wasn't able to salvage those. So everything from me literally burnt to the ground, and I had no idea how it was going to get back up. That was one of those times where I didn't even think about how I was going to get back up. I just said, I want to know how the hell I got myself here. I know through the gang stalking and being a targeted individual. I've been a targeted individual from that time probably for about, 5 years. Right? And somebody actually said, you're going to be homeless. And that person was involved with the gang stalking. But not even focusing on that. How did I allow this to happen? One of those, I didn't listen to my intuition, right? I thought, okay, I hid a good motive underneath a bad one. And when I mean that, it's like I let a lady in that I didn't listen to my intuition. Everything in me told me this woman's going to tear you to shreds. And it wasn't even that. It was just, I felt this. It was just this demonic energy that now I know, it's just all this hate and all this. But when I talked to her, and she's a cluster B personality, I didn't know anything about that then though. But when I talked to her, she was nice and she was inviting and she was warm and she was funny and she had, she had all this. She had the mask on. As soon as she didn't get her way, boy, she was on a tear. It was a tantrum that lasted 2 months until I became homeless. And, so yeah, I mean, we salvaged I salvaged what I could, especially my fur babes, because they were rescues. There was no reason why they deserved what they, to be homeless or to be. People's like, oh, well, you can get help if you just leave them babies alone. It's either you or the dogs, and it's like, well, it's neither. Where it's all of us. It's all of us. And I had picked up a second one, so I had three, and then the cat. Who did not like a hotel life, or there was no way I could take her. So it's not even that. It was all the fur babes that I lost, whether through death or through running away, the harassment, the attempts to humiliate me while I was on the streets, the attempts to keep me there. So that's how Phoenix is Rising Academy and Phoenix is Rising Media LLC came to be, was me going on my journey and rising slowly from the ashes and watching my progress and being so happy, so seriously, so happy that I was getting free. So happy. It was really ecstatic. And I don't know why I'm emotional, but I was just happy. I was happy that God was confirming what I knew and revealing what I didn't know. That I had always been theirs. That I had always, because sometimes you get told that you're so bad and you're so ugly and you're so stupid, and you think that the reason why you're being verbally and physically abused and tormented is because you've done something wrong. But when you realize that no, there are people out there that are under the cluster B personality that want to see you fail. They want to see you die. They want to see you in pain. Like that was, because, again, we treat people how we are. And we usually gravitate towards people that are like us, but we don't take into consideration that they're being fake. They don't see, you know what I mean? They know they can see the light. So they're like, okay, well, this is the person that I'd like to be around. So let me figure out what they like and what would open them up to me. What would get them to, let me in, and we end up letting them in. And they take us on a trip. So I was happy just to be strong again. Spiritual strength and spiritual growth is something that sometimes is indescribable because it's personal. Like you guys going through the 8-week program with me, it's for you to discover yourself. I'm just helping you chip away, right? I'm giving you the foundation so you can articulate and recognize the red flags. But really, the juicy part is going in on yourself. That's the juicy part. Is excavating your inner being. Right? It's doing renovation. And I'm still not describing it. I'm so grateful that I was told to go back into writing, and I'm doing my treatment because I want to be able to show you guys through the magic of film. So hopefully somebody picks it up, but through just, animation, illustrations or whatever, what it feels like to level up. For me, how it was. But really, I'm just your guide. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm just your guide. I am somebody who has been through it. I have the receipts. I have the credentials. I have the expertise. So I can lead you to where you need to go, right? And like one thing that I had a spiritual mother and beautiful mentor helped me create my foundation on top of the faulty one, right? So it sustained me. And but when we started butting heads, because she loved me so much that she couldn't realize that, okay, some of the things that now you're complaining about are me already, are me, right? So I need somebody who's going to love that part of me, right? So we were button heads, and we had to part ways. And that hurt me because she gave me a lot of information, gave me a lot of wisdom, helped me when I had anxiety. You know what I mean? I've dealt with anxiety, complex post-traumatic stress a lot for, most of my life, growing up in an abusive, narcissistic home. So, and now, now I love that I am in my power. I love that there's times where I can, where I do get weak, where I do get fearful. And that's just the process of being human, of being a spiritual being, having a human experience. And that's something that people with cluster B personalities don't get. That's something with people with character disorders and that are just plain toxic don't get. They don't get to be authentic because they're always masking. They're always, some type of addiction, whether it be sex addiction, alcohol addiction, whatever, drug addiction. They're always fucking masking something, right? And so I want you guys to know how it feels to be in your power. I want you guys to know how it feels to be in your power. I watched a few episodes of a anime called Keguri, I believe. Hi, hey, Lopez. It's a gambling anime. It's an anime about gambling. And one of the episodes was, so basically when you lose in any type of gambling situation, or you lose right out or you become last, you become a house pet. Now, I'm not going to elaborate on what that is. You guys can Google it. But so this one young girl, these are high school students, mind you, but the focus is gambling. And they're all millionaires, billionaires, right? And so they make their money off of gambling. Or they get rank or education or whatever is based off of this gambling. And so one of the Jabari, I guess, was the character's name. And she kind of forfeits almost the game because she wants this young girl who's a house pet, who's been abused and tortured by this guy, this high schooler, to realize her power. So after the game, they end up winning. She gets in, she's second place. The young girl who's the house pet, she's second place. And the older girl turns around to her and she says, you know that feeling? That's victory. Get used to it. Right? So get used to feeling victory once you start feeling it. So I'm used to feeling victory. I want you guys to get used to feeling victory. To being victorious, to know what that looks like, to be able to recognize the path that you're on. Because somebody may need you someday. So. Hi, Drea Lopez. But yeah, I thought, I just watched that last night and she said it. And I was like, gosh, I'm watching things that are like, that are right where I'm at, right where I'm at. And it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, my two businesses, and it's not like that I didn't have people sabotaging me. Like I got to do a lot of things over again, unfortunately. And it's so that, and this is the other thing too, because it's not, sometimes you're just, the reason why I'm opening up and I just do $20, 30-minute sessions for if you guys need to talk, if you're dealing with people with cluster B personalities, or if you're in an abusive relationship of any kind and you just want somebody to talk to, I'm here for it. Because sometimes you can be still have to stay in the environment, even though you have the wisdom, you have the knowledge, you've leveled up, you have the power. But right now, because of all the health stuff and the various variants and the finances, right? Our world is tipped upside down, which goes to show that these cluster B personalities they got their priorities fucked up. It's like, it's real bad when you got your priorities It's my second time. Yeah, I know. You've been here. You were here a few days ago. Trying to remember. Last time I did a live, it was 3 hours. I'm not going to have it be 3 hours this time. But yes, I'm glad that you're here. I like to see the familiars. You guys rock. You guys rock. It lets me know that I'm doing something. Something's reaching you. But yeah, so what was I saying? I forgot. Okay. So but oh yeah, 30-minute sessions. Thank you. 30-minute sessions, because I know that people need just somebody to hear. You know, they just need somebody to listen. And I know what it's like to, still be in that environment, but you're going to get out, or you want to get out, but right now you can't get out, right? Or you've out and now it's like, what do I do, right? Because the brain fog comes in, and then you start getting mad. You go through what is it, 5 steps of grieving, and one of them's anger, and then one of them's crying and confusion. It's like, wait a minute, how did this all happen to me, right? But you survived and you made it. You survived and you made it. So if, and if you guys just want to do, anybody wants to do a session where we're just helping you to learn how to set goals, as you're transitioning, then let me know. Yeah, it was a few days ago, Drea. Yeah, because that was 3 hours long. Boy, I tell you, I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Because usually it cuts off at 100 minutes. But and it's like right now it's 100 minutes. And then when I go into the live center, it said 3 hours. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it took me a long time to download. But I'm glad. So, and just so you guys know, I'm going to start posting little snippets of these lives on here. So that way, if people want to rewatch it, you can go onto my YouTube. So there'll be a link. Again, if you guys aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please get subscribed. My goal is to get to 2,000 subscribers. So please help me make that happen. On my YouTube channel, it's a podcast. So, and I have little playlists too. So first it's the audio podcast, and then now I'm doing we're reading books. Right. So I'm reading books that are dealing with people, how to heal and have a life after cluster B personality relationships. Right. So, when you're in a relationship with a narcissist or whatever, and just like, okay, well, how do I rebuild? Right. So I'm reading that right now is the Wise Lesbian Guides to Crazy Making Relationships by Amber Alt, PhD. So I have 2 episodes, or I think I got 1 episode up, and one's coming this week. So, take a listen to that. I do commentary, but I'm going to shut down the commentary, and I'm just going to start reading, and I'll let you guys comment in the comment section, because it's taken too much away. But it's really interesting, because I know that a lot of people don't have time to read the books. So why not read them, and you guys engage, and, you get some time, you can, listen to it while you're at work or whatever, because that's what I do. I listen to, audiobooks all the time. Sometimes I'll go to sleep with them, depending on what it is, So that's what we're doing on the podcast. And then, there's times where I'll get an inspiration to share a video with you guys, and I'll do a video and then I'll post it or whatever. So, yeah, so please go over to my YouTube channel. It's Phoenix's Rising Academy, and it'll have my icon on there, and just go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell, so that way you get notified of anything that I've posted, because I'm being consistent, and I'm really happy. I do have a Facebook group, but I think I may disband that and do it and wait for Patreon, because eventually the podcast is going to turn into the interviews of is going to have the interviews of the authors that I'm reading, whose books that I'm reading, so you guys can do some question and answering. And I think that those will be posted on a Patreon or something like that. No, I'm not a police officer. I'm a security guard. Somebody asked me that yesterday too. So yeah, anyway, and then I got my Instagram, which is sometimes it's just a repost of stuff on here. But go to my thank you, Spaz. Go to my social media and please engage, because I want to know what you guys are if what you guys are feeling, what you guys aren't, so I can make sure that I'm honed in to serve you guys better, right? And I think I'm going to get off of here if nobody has any questions. But yeah, we were talking about projection, cluster B personalities, and how they will project their toxic characteristics and traits onto you, their anger, their frustration, their insecurities. I had one. This is the good thing. Thank you, Spaz. I'm glad. I had one of the cluster B personalities that I had dealt with. I'd lived with her, did not date her at all. And that's the thing too, where for some reason, and I'm not sure if it's everybody, right? But I think that because, like I said, I've been celibate by choice until I get my shit together, right? And I had to do a lot of healing and a lot of clearing. But I'm celibate by choice. But I noticed that with everybody that I've dealt with who's had a cluster B personality, they always assume that you're attracted to them. And they don't take no for an answer, which is absolutely scary. And it's even more terrifying to me when women do it, when women reveal themselves as sex offenders. Now, it's often the grooming that people with narcissism or psychopathy or sociopathy and the whole cocktail of cluster B shit has often been related, oh, come on, part of brain fog. But mine's from quitting smoking. I've been related to, related to that of a pedophile, how the pedophile grooms their victims, And I know for the ones that I'm, like I said, they're gang affiliated, and there's a lot of demonic shit that they're involved in. So I know that so obsessive compulsive sociopaths, yep. So I know that they're sex offenders, right? Like I had them trying to groom me. Both of them were trying to graft themselves in to my life path and try and convince me that we were soulmates. It's like, we're not soulmates. And one of them is still obsessed, has been obsessed for 8 years. I mean, only 4 of them I've known that that it was her who's been, doing a lot of this stuff. Because of her status, as she said, I got status in the gang. Santa Muerte holds her in high favor. But how they try and convince you, like, you can't leave without. I mean, like, no means no. No means no. No matter what gender, no matter your sexual orientation, no is no. And here, these women, like, I'm still like, my God, these women just have not taken no for an answer. Like the other one, so the other one's 160, the other one's 40, and she's like, oh well, you're married. I don't care what the dynamics of the relationship is. I don't care if it's convenience. I don't care if it's for the kids. I don't care. I'm not interested in you. And it's the first time in my life that I have experienced a female not accepting no as a, you know what I mean? So that's why I started off with the lesbian, the Wise Lesbian's Guide to Crazy Making Relationships and how to get on with your life. Because it's absolutely peculiar. I mean, it's just, and this woman, because this is what they will do, and this is why people say, oh, I didn't know. Stalker types. Yes, and she does stalk me. Like I have them, like they're gang affiliated. I think it's the Nortanos or something like that. Both of these guys. This is what I said. Where I live is extremely toxic. Like the whole city is cluster B city. And these guys are into witchcraft too. So that means that they're into astral projecting and telepathic communication and telepathic attacks and psychic attacks and jar spells and rituals and all that shit, Like I don't think about this stuff on my own unless I'm experiencing it. And it's my higher self that's like, okay, this person's trying, this is what I'm feeling. This is where it's stemming from. Like they put me in a jar, I think, Oh, sometime in September, you know, but it's the first time it's like these guys they don't want you to move on. They don't want you to move on. They don't want you to reject their sexual advances because that's all it is. All they're concerned about is sex. It's not love, you know, and they use sex to drain. They use sex to take your energy, you know, and I just got to explain. It's like, I'm not having sex with anybody that's not making love to me to heal me, you know, I'm not, and vice versa, because I have that property. So it's like that sex is no longer, sex stopped being the go-to for me. Like it really did. It just stopped being that. Like, I don't need that. Yeah, I got some stones, and gratefully I live by a Shango shop, which unfortunately a lot of those gang members are a part of, but because they do it. I say the voodoo dolls that they use on me and everything else. I'm like, dang. But they'll smile in your face. They smile in my face every time I go in there. Yeah, transference and attachments. Go, girl. Tell them, Drea. Yeah, because that's what it is. It's like she's transferring all her sickness. Like the succubus, she dumps, like she emotionally dumps on me. That's why I said it's like they want you to be their man, your mammy, the teacher, the father, the mother, the granny, you know what I mean? Like it's really, they want you to be all this to them at one time. And it's like, that's not my bag. And as soon as you told, like when I told her no, she started stalking me. She started having her gang member friends stalk me, you know? So, and this is over a year ago. And this woman is still stalking. This woman is still trying to tune in. This woman is still concerned about who I'm talking to and still does witchcraft, like love bind. She did a love domination spell, and I saw her. I saw her in my spiritual periphery. I saw her, and she was happy and justified. So it's like, and these guys will come back and try and apologize, right? How are you going to apologize for doing death spells? How are you going to apologize for doing death rituals? How are you going to apologize for trying to bind somebody to you? Like, I don't know what kind of cluster B personalities you guys are dealing with, but these are the ones that I've dealt with, you know, and who are still in the atmosphere. But I just know how to block them. And unfortunately, these guys are stubborn because they obsess. They cannot stand not having something. I rejected her, and she was not able to get me back through witchcraft because I have a strong spirit. You don't have any rights to me. Dangerous liaisons, those works shouldn't work if that's not your belief. Yeah, you're still here. Yeah. I mean, and it's the intensity that I've experienced them going after me. You know, like they tried to make me, to take away my finances so I would be homeless. Because one of them, the 60-year-old, wanted me to go all the way back. I heard her say it. I'm clairaudient and clairsentient and clair, you know, whatever the hell. I'm in the spirit world. I spend more of my time up there. But since all these attacks in the last, you know, well, especially in this last year, really, to be honest with you, it's felt a little different. And I think because they are attacking, it's like I can feel them attacking. I can feel them. One tries to, when you get to know your frequency, right? We all got a frequency. We're all made of atoms and neurons and protons, and we're all energy, right? The stars are energy vibrating, right? The Vedics knew this. The Hindus knew this. So that's why they did mantras. Okay, let's do, when you chant a planetary mantra, it helps you deal with whatever you know, so if Mars is in retrograde, Venus is in retrograde, go to the Vedic, mantras, look up the mantra for the moon, look up the mantra for Venus, look up the mantra for the sun, look up those mantras and start chanting those mantras, right? Because we do have, I mean, depending on our charts and stuff like that, we have I don't know it all full. I'll just know that's what I was put in alignment with, and I got the basics. Yeah, it makes me mad. It's not free. It costs money. Karmic debt, universe. Yes. And I've already claimed it. Like, because when I felt it so bad, so hard, so we all have frequency, right? So the 60-year-old, she wants to literally be me. And I don't know if you guys have seen Venom. That's what it feels like. Because I've seen her, like, you got portals, right? You got chakras. So she'll come in Like I said, I don't care what anybody thinks, but I know what I feel because I've seen her. And she has been harassing me for a long time, where basically I will see her imprint. I will see her body, what she looks like, everything. She's literally tried to do a body swap where I was looking in the mirror looking like her. And she's not attractive. You know, I'm not with the Bart Simpson shit, dude. You know, she's not attractive. So I had to purge her out. Then she would attach something. And I saw it was just a bony finger. So I think, okay, is that the spirit of death or is that the spirit of Santa Muerte? You know, because that's something they worship Santa Muerte. They feel that because they are sex traffickers and drug dealers, if you're a gang member, you're an Nathaniels, that's what the fucked up shit you're doing. Now, if I was in a business and I was in a gang and like Trump said, if you're organizing yourself as, being the mafia, then you might want to get control of your people who are 5150 because they're going to fuck shit up for you. I'm just saying. You know, I'm just saying, but a lot of people don't want to realize that. But anyway, so because she's been in my body, so she would come in through my spine and she attaches, and the other one, the succubus, attaches through my root chakra. Right. So these are portals inside of us. So I got to constantly, what's exhausting is that I have to constantly clear out my chakras. I have to constantly, remove any type of demonic energy or entities because these guys don't have lives. And that's what you'll find. And it's depending because these guys are in poverty, right? These guys, this is poverty consciousness. This is a poverty mentality, and they don't have much going on for them. But in their minds, they got everything, but they have too much time on their hands. Both of these guys are on disability. Both of these women are disabled, right? So they're home most of the time. They're home 24 hours. Right? Because they got their main source, their main supply goes out and works and stuff because these guys are lazy, right? Watching Healing Daily, yeah. Shapeshift, yeah. Well, and the other one does because she has multiple personalities. And I saw those when I was talking to her, and I talked to her a handful of times, but because my guides and the Lord was like, no, don't talk, don't. She was coming after me, and then come to find out what they revealed to me is that she had already been on me for a year prior because I would we were still living out of the van. Me and my fur babes were still living out of the van. I was working. I wanted to stack up money and move to a healthier environment. I wanted to stack money and move to a healthier environment. So I didn't want to get into a hotel. The hotel is $2,200 a month. Right? So the hell, you know? But we ended up moving into the hotel, and she was there, and I could tell that there was something. Always listen to your intuition, even if you don't know what's happening. And I got this because I saw her, and just out of the corner of my eye, and I saw a look that let me know she was familiar with me. Right? So then things start making sense because, like, okay, you've been stalking me for a minute because these people are in the spiritual realm. They're not in the physical. It's just their body, right? The demon is looking at the God within us and seeing how it can quench its thirst and dull or damage us. That's what she was doing. So anyway, yeah, she's a shapeshifter. So I got to know her 5-year-old little girl, 12-year-old, the grandma, and then the wannabe, seductress, the succubus, I guess, so she had like at least 5 of them. And this woman, yeah, evil possession, like she did. That's what I saw. So I was like, and that these guys will get upset when you tell the truth about them. I saw there's a little girl right here. This is how the Lord showed it to me. There's a little girl right here. There was this big black mass. Now, mind you, when I saw this, there was a black mass that came from the 60-year-old. That's why I said, both of you guys are demon possessed, and I'm tired of being around you. Like when you can see the entities, and this wasn't a form. This was just a cloud of shit of whatever demonic sewage was going to come. That's what it was. It was not, it was scary just to feel just this like death. I never knew that death had a smell, but I now I know what death smells like, you know? So yeah, there was a little girl like this who was hunched over, didn't see her face, full of love. I felt that, full of love, full of passion, creativity, right? Her authentic self that never got to grow up. Here's this demon over her. I mean, why would I make stuff up? You know, why would I make stuff up? It's not my life. It's not my life. You know, it's not my life. When people see me, they see angels. They see my guides. They see my team. You know, they're like, yeah, we got to watch this motherfucker, you know? And I think that's what got funny. Lilith, Delilah, yes, oh my God, yes. Yes, that's what I said. Succubus, Jezebel. So I had to start casting out the Jezebel, casting out the succubus, you know, and then the 60-year-old, who's, you know, trying to be so like Venom. She was coming in through my spine portal, you know, and because I would feel, it's like anytime my neck starts to feel, it's like, okay, because people don't realize that when people start to try and superimpose themselves, have a parasitic symbiotic relationship with you, you get the toxicity from them because that's already in them. It doesn't matter if it's in the spirit, because what her intentions was to be me. And her spirit is very heavy and very demonic, very evil, very toxic, very stifling. So I'm going to know, because I'm normally really, you know, chipper, right? I could have a broken arm. Oh yeah, I'm cool. I'm good. You know, because I'm always looking at the brighter side of things. Let's say, how can I use this for my good? That's how I am. People's like, when I was homeless on the streets, they're like, well, how come you don't look like you're homeless? Because my spirit isn't homeless. My spirit, the core of me, is not homeless. And I got the G team around me, so they're not going to let me feel like that. You know, one thing my guides and my ancestors have not allowed me to feel is a lot of self-pity. You know, like they don't like it. They hate it when I feel self-pity. Thank you. Hag attachment, older vessel. It's been with her for a while. Ooh, girl, we need to talk. Girl, street oath. Thank you. God loves you, R. Brown. Yeah, you said it. Lilith, Delilah, Jezebel. Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, because it was. So here's the thing. See, sometimes you got to laugh at this stuff. This is why I'm writing the script. And it's hard because, you know, you got the first act, which is basically just introducing and telling you what the goal is and what the obstacles are. And so I'm ready to get into the meat of it, you know, because you guys need to learn this. But what she did was, so it was the holidays, right? And so I'm coming back from work. And I'm avoiding her because I'm like, the plates aren't sitting straight on the table. The guides, I mean, she makes me feel really nasty every time I go around her. I already know she's in my energy because I can smell her stinky ass fucking breath. And so I'm like, you know, running to my hotel room, just getting off work. And she comes after me. She comes after me, running, and thank you. And she hands me this little plastic bag with all these samples in it. And she's literally wearing a muumuu, a gown of some, and she's like, oh, here. I was like, oh no, I'm good. Thank you. She's like, yeah. And that's what I said. That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. I said, those altars are your demon possessions. So she hands me this little plastic thing talking about, oh, well, Sean, you know, or her, excuse me, I got to remind us not to say names. But anyway, not like I give a shit. But she says, my husband, because she never called him her husband. She did not want to claim him. Again, people with cluster B personalities will always pretend like they're single, and it's believable because they compartmentalize, meaning that they can shut it off, and there is always going to be a partition between worlds for them. Yeah. Okay. Hold on with that thought, Drea. She holds out this bag, right? And I'm just getting ready to grab it because I'm like, I want to go, you know? Like I said, there was no attraction to this. This lady literally made me throw up in my mouth. And I'm not over exaggerating. Whatever was on her, the toxicity, the evil, I threw up in my mouth because I was like, like, what is that? You know? And why is it attached? How did it get there? And so anyway, she hands it and yeah, no, I haven't talked to her in a year. I haven't called her. I haven't done anything to her. I actually told her I'm done. I was like, you're too toxic for me. You're too toxic. You made a mountain out of a molehill, da da da. And I said, you're a narcissist. And I said, I don't know why your demons weren't telling you not to fuck with me, but here you are. Yep, true that. So anyway, she tried the grandma demon was holding out. Well, I just wanted this for you and your fur babes. My fur babes don't need cologne, don't need Avon samples. You know, they need dog biscuits. Accountability of the world now. So anyway, yeah. So I've seen different types, and it's the gift of, or people will call you cuckoo. People will say that you don't know what you're talking about. And I've had these gifts forever. My mom had these gifts, so that's when I talked about when I was on the streets and I said, and I lost everything. But like I said, this is where the Phoenix is Rising brand came from, is that I had lost everything and I was burnt to the ground. And not only that, but I had to burn away everything inwardly, interiorly, that was keeping me from being my true, authentic self and living in my purpose. Because I knew that I had always felt rich. I'd always felt like I had come from wealth in some way, shape, or form. I am naturally creative in so many different ways. And, so now it's healing that. So when you guys go through this program, this 8-week program, from sealed to healed, because now my gifts aren't sealed anymore, because trauma bonds and having to go through trauma and getting the PTSD from it. It's like sometimes it'll make your gifts dormant. It'll make that creative spark dormant. Where you almost want to hide it, so because you're protecting it, because it's all that you have. I don't feel like I'm still at my capacity. But again, when God told me to start writing again, write my treatment, then I'm writing my treatment. Then, I got confirmation. So it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing. I've always been a storyteller. I started writing my story a long time ago, because I was already done. I'm an old soul, so I was already done. I was 19. I was like, let's go. People don't start writing their memoirs or whatever, I guess, until they're like 50 or 60. I don't know. But I was been ready. There's the topic. It'll be this live TikTok live will be reposted on my YouTube channel. So if you guys want to go subscribe to my YouTube, please do. My goal is to get to 2,000 subscribers. So please help my dream to come true. And on my YouTube channel is a podcast. Basically, it's the discussing my experiences, like I'm talking to you. Thank you. Like I'm talking to you guys right now, just about the spiritual nature, about the supernatural. And when it comes to dealing with people who have narcissism or psychopathy or sociopathy, I do believe it is a demon possession. You bet I do. You bet I do. Hold on. Oh, God. I thought that was in there. Okay. But yeah, I do believe that it is a demon possession. And I do believe, because I've seen it. I've seen it. And there are so many stories to tell, because I've been sitting here by myself, isolated, in a toxic city. Because once they get you, once they mark you, they don't want to let you go. And they don't want to let you go. And that's the thing that I'm dealing with this other lady. It's just, you don't have the right to be over people, but it doesn't, when you level up spiritually, you learn how to energetically remove them. And that's what I've done, a lot of times. Unfortunately, I have to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, but that's coming to a head now. Because one of them just does not want to, both of them just don't want to admit that, it's not. Time's up, dudes. Your time's up. Being evil is up. Being evil is up. There's a lot of changes that are happening. And that's what brings me back to, it's like, okay, you're projecting all your toxic characteristics and qualities and beliefs and feelings and, all that stuff onto me. But you always notice how they want to take the easier, softer way. Like this woman was using witchcraft to try and be me, literally take on my body so that she would have my blessings. That's why it doesn't do you, it does you a disservice to play small, because there is somebody who blocking it too. I'm not doing it yet. There is somebody who is watching you, seeing with their spiritual eyes, your divine gifts, right? So if they're seeing you, why would you be small and allow them to take or have access to damage or make you think that they can take what is divinely been given you, right? Why not live in your purpose, right? Why not live in your purpose? Hold on just a minute. Okay. So, and it's not just about it's about living in your purpose and living from your divine gifts. Because if you know that people want to take them from you, right? Like, think about the old school cartoons, there's always been a theme. That's why I say this is the hero's journey. It's a spiritual hero's journey. We're spiritual warriors, and it's a journey that we're on to break generational curses, to continue our own legacy, right? But to start something new sometimes. Well, you cannot answer the door. You cannot answer the door. That's what, yeah, it's not fun. I can't translate that, hun. Yeah. And it could be because you're on your spiritual journey and they want to have the benefits from it. But you can just say, hey, I don't want you in here. You can say no. People, and really, people don't seem to know how to say no enough. I remember it was scary for me to say no, because really what I found is that the more you say no, the more there are consequences. You know what I mean? It's not the more that you say no, but sometimes when you say no, they want to punish you. Because how dare you? It's like I'm just asking because that's what I've mimicked. That's the norm, But really, you don't say no to me. You do whatever I tell you to do. Like the 60-year-old pedophile, that's what she would like. She just wanted to demand. And when you would talk to her, when she would talk to you, because she didn't talk back. She didn't want to have a conversation. So when she would talk to you, she would be demanding, do this. And I'd look at her. I had to keep telling her. This is before we were actually on the streets. And, she had said she was going to help me and whatever, and she didn't. She was trying to use me. She was exploiting my situation. And this is why it's like, don't be less than who you are. Get to know what your gifts are and who you are and your special abilities. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to. But as long as you know you, as long as you know what frequency you vibrate at and how you interact with the rest of the world, because somebody has already checked you. Somebody already has a data plan on you. Right? And they're plotting. And that's real stuff. Like I said, when I woke up to the fact that there are people who want to destroy others, and that is their only reason for existing. Cool. So yeah, that's the only reason. So, you can say no. So when I first said no, it was the most shocking thing, because when you change something, there's a shift in the atmosphere Phoenixes. There's always going to be a shift when you change something. And especially if you change it from a positive, if you change it from what is the norm, it's going to be felt. It's going to be felt in the realms. That's just real shit. It's going to be felt in the realms. So those who are against you and you've already been blacklisted, they're going to come for you. This woman, the 60-year-old, she wants my gifts as if she can take them. So she's trying to have a venom relationship with me where we merge. It's like, no, we're not merging, bitch. We are not merging. But I have to fight her off every day because she is obsessed. She is literally deranged. I have felt her physical disabilities. I felt whatever liver problem she has because she's a binge drinker. I felt all that because she's so heavy and deep in my energy. And it's because I've asked my guys, I've asked the Most High, of like, okay, well, you guys are supposed to be protecting me. And they do. They'll take her right out. Like when I'd be going to the job and because she wants to be a security guard. I mean, like I said this last night, how crazy is it for a woman, this woman, I didn't know until I knew she told me that she had gone to jail. But I didn't know the details, really. I hadn't looked up the article or anything. She was trying to keep me from that. So she was really good at holding negative space, right? To make you think that she was going to do something to her. But she fucked up when she kept talking down to me and finally spit in my face and told me this is why people hate black people. And this was a Latina. So I went into blackout mode and almost was there and getting ready to pummel her, because that's what happens when I go through a blackout. I'm like my father in that way, where I don't say, you've made me so mad that I got to jump out of my body because I'm about to do some damage and I don't want to be here, or it's about to do some damage on you. So anyway, and so she wanted to be me. So this person would always, so basically she kidnapped this woman. Later I found out that she had molested this woman's son. She claimed that they were dating. They were not dating. But she also claimed that we were dating. We were not dating. You see what I'm saying? So this is the delusions. They don't stay in reality. And this woman is like the poster child. Like I learned a lot from her. A lot. Like a lot of puzzle pieces that were missing were placed. A lot of, just revelations as to the dynamics of the city that I was in and what she was involved in. It all just made sense. Just dealing with her and having this person consistently in my energy field. Same with the succubus. Like she knows that there's no chance, but she was like, oh, well, if I can't have you, then nobody can. That's not the way life works. We have no contract. Right? When you understand the spiritual laws, you know that I have had no contact with you. I have no contract with you. I've already shut the door and I shut it with love. Mind you, both of these guys, I did not leave with hostility. I was grateful for what I received, the information or whatever, genuinely. And so now spiritually, in the spiritual realms under the spiritual law, when people come after you for no reason, they're screwed. They're screwed because now you're in debt to me. Then when I got to know, like I've said this before in other podcast, another live talks, that I put a price, right? So number one, you're not supposed to be on my property, right? So you stay on my property. Like you see sometimes homeless people, when I was homeless on the street, people would be defiant and they wouldn't probably be on the property, but they'd be on the outskirts. Well, this is public. This is on the state. This is on the sidewalk. So I could sit here. Right. Especially as a security guard too, you get a lot of people who just want attention. And so she stays on, even if you stay on the outskirts, I'm still charging you by the minute. And I charge 500 trillion. By the minute, so I do that. I don't care who thinks that it's crazy. You're going to astral project to me. You're going to terrorize me. You're going to do death spells for me. That's 500 billion. You want to drain my chakras. You want to take out, you want to attach yourself to me when I've told you not to. That's rape. So you're violating all types of spiritual laws, not just physical, but the spiritual is energetic. So I know that you can, your ass will be rocked. I felt it. I had to have my guide rip her out because she was just gung-ho, gung-ho on trying to literally be the security guard that she can't be. So this woman, the 60-year-old, had kidnapped the woman because she was telling people that this woman is going after her because she had one face. She had a mask on. The 60-year-old had a mask on and was like, oh yeah, she's just talking stuff because she's going through. But this is what it means. They'll exploit you. So you don't give the devil a foothold. She was looking for what she could exploit in me, not realizing that what she thought was exploitable was also healable. Right? Phoenixes. So what she thought was exploitable was healable. And instead of her being able to exploit, like she always thought, and I never understood because I was on the streets and she would harass me too. She would have her gang member buddies, flying monkeys, harass me. Give me, say phrases that she knew that I would know was coming from her, And when I just started ignoring it, she didn't know what to do with herself. And she would be parts, like I would see her leave, right? Like now she doesn't do that because it's already been set. You see, as you grow, they get weaker. You get more powerful. As exhausting as this has been, you know what I mean? Like some evil you just got to take off does not deserve to exist. You got to quelch it. You got to end it. And I'm leaving that up to the Most High to do. Leaving that up for the Most High to do because she's been doing this stuff. But then when you molest a child, like I didn't know that she had molested that child, but the fact that she had lied and said that they were dating when they weren't, you're delusional, right? You had molested this child. She would rather take jail than be labeled and sentenced to prison as a child molester. And this one, and see, this is again, they're not in reality, people. They're not in reality. So you're having cognitive dissonance talking about, oh, well, no, nobody can be this evil. Nobody can, plot or be this confused. Yes, they can, because they're not human. You're trying to treat somebody like you want to be treated, but they're not you. So stop. Let go. Gray rock that ass. Make plans to secretly leave. The best thing that she could have done was to discard me. And that was only out of fear. But she was thinking, oh, I'm doing this myself because, you can't mind and stuff like that. You're not taking to the grooming. That's why she was pissed off, because I wasn't taking to the grooming. I have a very strong mind, but still stalks me to this day. Still trying to be me to this day. And it's crazy, priorities. Where I have all these variants of viruses and people dying and people, not being able to work. And this simple-minded brat, this simple-minded 5 to 7-year-old in the head is focused on somebody else's life, whether it be taking it or being in it. Like she thought, I guess, if she swapped bodies with me, if she pulled my soul out, that she could replace, you know what I mean? Like this is the shit that this woman's been thinking. And it's absolutely nutty. Like the succubus, it's absolutely nutty that you would think that I would be in a third-party relationship with somebody that absolutely disgusts me and who's married and doesn't take care of their own kids. Like, so when you put things in perspective, like not every cluster B personality is in poverty or rich, right? You have your middle of the roads and they're just existing, right? But see, these are the type of people that when you keep when our society has been created to sustain this type of demonic influence, right? So the best thing that you can do for yourself is do the work, is heal, is stop denying your gifts, stop denying that you were hurt, stop denying that you've been traumatized. Right? Because all you do, if you keep denying what you've gone through, keep denying what you feel in your heart, you keep denying these things about you because you're embarrassed, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody falls short of the glory of God. Everybody does, including me. The point is that we want to do better. We got remorse. People with cluster B personalities do not have remorse. This Hispanic male shot this woman 22 times. How do you shoot somebody 22 times? The first 2 would have done it. Because he's a cluster B personality, and then they let his bitch ass right back out. So understand where we're at, people. There is no time for you to be lazy. You cannot afford to be lazy spiritually. I understand because, oh, I'm worried about what I'm going to do. I'm worried about the work. I'm worried about getting a paycheck. I'm worried about this stuff, right? Okay, I don't like my job, but it's not protecting me from COVID or anything else. Or don't have the benefits or whatever, right? I understand that. I went through that just recently. And I'll tell you what, in meditation, all I heard was stand. That's all I heard. Just stand. Just stand. And I stood. I stood on my own 2 feet. I allowed people to help me, which I was so tearfully thankful, right? Because I was like, I told God, I said, I don't have another day on being on the streets. We already did that. Because I don't, and I said too, it's like, have God talks, you guys. If you're journaling, journal, but also to get your mind right, to get your thoughts out. And it helps from pen to pen because it kind of clears all that chaos inside of your head, right? So to be able to write it, right? But also have God talks. There's nothing that says that you can't talk to God like I'm talking to you right now. Have God talks. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Jack Waters, exactly. Exactly. So I have God talks. And I was like, look here. I was like, I have been through hell and back again. And I said, partly by choice. But you and I both see that I have people creating destruction and discord in my life, right? On purpose. So, I need you guys to step in. I need you guys to interfere. I give you permission to interfere. Because I'm exhausted. Because right now I'm tired of being subjected to other people's sickness. Like my neighbor, they always want to sit in front of my door and talk, right? And I told them when I left for work last night, I said, look, do not stand in front of my door again. And people right now are so easily offended and feel entitled to space. Has anybody else noticed that? It's a bullying tactic. Right? It's like, no, you're not going to you're not going to stand in front of my door. I can move and I will be requesting to move to a different area because I've been wanting to. Yeah. Yeah. It's exhausting having to deal with these guys because once they target you, it's like, it's hard to get that off of you. Right. But you can grow and I've still functioned, but like I said, I had to have that God talk. Look, these guys are doing this and I'm about ready to lose my mind. I'm about ready to snap. I'm about ready to catch case because I'm that super empath. I'm that INFJ. I'm that one that will come for you because I've had enough. I've already told you no. I've already said stop. How many times do I got to keep doing it? And you keep doing the same shit over and over and over again, right? Like, and that's I've been telling, the Most High too, is just, Lord, I'm tired because I grew up. This is the projection. You're projecting. People with cluster B personalities will project. My father projected his hatred towards Black women onto me, right? And also when he's a sex offender too. He's a child molester. Right. And that's what I'm wondering. It's like, I feel like all these people with cluster B personalities, because there's the whole cocktail. It's not just one. Thank you so much for the likes. It's the whole cluster B cocktail. So they may have narcissism. They may have psychopathy. They may have borderline personality. One shows up the most. Really, it's just they all interweave with each other. Right. All those traits, those character disturbances work in tandem. So, but that's how my father was, and he was projecting. So when he had molested my stepsister, I had to take the blame was transferred to me. Like I was the one that did it. I mean, think about how fucked up that is. That's a projection if I've ever heard one. Yeah. And it's hard. And see, that's what happened to me in this, when I moved here, and even before, when you're a part of a community because you don't know. Like, I didn't know that this was a gang stalking city. I didn't know that was their go-to, right? But it's not like I don't know where gang stalking literally comes from or why they keep doing it. I just know that it's been happening since 9/11. After 9/11 happened, that's when people started being shut down. That's when I noticed it. I've noticed California. I noticed that, people could not be themselves, could not say what they needed to say, because why? When narcissists do something so grandiose that they don't want to be caught, because narcissists don't want to be shut down. They don't want to be criticized. They don't want to be criticized. Right? Narcissists do not want to be fucking criticized. They want to just do what they just wanted to basically blow up some towers and make a statement and then enjoy the benefits off of it and not have anybody see them, look at them differently. So they went when I first started this live, I talked about the young black trans male who was or I'm not sure. They were called an anti-Semite. Because people will just throw words out there that they think will shut you down. And then the flying monkeys, who were also black, came out and tried to isolate him and tell this guy just got off the streets, HIV positive. Having to deal with all that. Yep. He's had to deal with all that. And people aren't going to like what people say. I don't like what everybody says about me. I don't focus on it though. That's what gets people fucked up, is that they keep thinking that you have any authority, especially on this app. And this app has gone down as far as social conscience, because the people who are claiming to be socially conscious are the bullies, are the ones who aren't. They're trying to get a payday. You don't know if that guy was anti-Semitic or not, because people can just say that you're anti-Semitic just because they don't want you to find out the shit that they're really doing. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't fucking kill Libyans and Palestinians and demolish their homes and stuff. And because you feel that you're entitled to it, you don't do that. You don't get to do that. Even other people of that culture have said, we don't get to do that. Their history is history. If somebody has read history, that's why I kept telling these two black women who were trying to serve these people up so they can get a name for themselves and get a payday. Basically, you're trying to get a payday. I've researched this for over 20 years, read the history for over 20 years. So when I came up to my FYP, I was like, you guys sound real stupid. And I had to refrain because I'm a life coach. I'm trying to, get this brand, but it's like, really, I'm not going to be hindered. If you're on my FYP page, then you're on my FYP page for some reason, because not everybody comes up on my FYP page. So no, I'm not. You don't get to call people anti-Semitic or tell them that they're racist when they're not, when there's more of a backstory. There's a dark history that people don't know about. If you don't want people to know about that, don't do shit. That's what gets me. So you have cultures that are narcissistic, that are cluster B cultures. That it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, we have internal shit that's going on, but we all keep this silent because we want to control everybody else. The world is our stage. I've seen it specifically with two cultures that are actually related to each other. Distant cousins. No, you're not silencing me or anybody else. So yeah, it took a lot for me not to really go ham on these guys, because it's just stupidity. It's stupidity. Like, how dumb can you be? I mean, she was like, well, and then he mentioned Anne Frank. Well, Anne Frank was debunked a long time ago. Where have you been? Like I said, I'm Generation X. She was debunked back in the 90s to the 2000s. She had already been debunked. Doesn't mean that it wasn't a heartfelt story, but she was not real. And now you're going to come after people for saying that a truth that has been spoken. Like, you can go back and go get the damn videotape from the news station. From the History Channel, from the Discovery Channel. You can go get that shit. That was a big thing. But you want to sit there and slander people? And talk about, oh, you said something anti-Semitic. Get the fuck out of here. It does. It chaps my hide. I was crying earlier for the guy before I got on the live. I think we've been on here for about a couple hours. But it pissed me off because I know what he's going to go through. I know, because he was like, oh, I really need the Black community's help. Why? Because they're going to try and kill him now. See, that's what people don't understand. With certain cultures that are narcissistic and savage, they will kill you slowly. OJ was a great example. We can look at the stars. Look at Britney Spears. They tried to kill her slowly and make money off of her. Who do you think opened them up to that and trained them? Kesha. I mean, God, there's so many fucking examples. I had to tell the one lady, don't gaslight me. I'll snatch your soul out. Don't gaslight me. I am so fed up with people being afraid, because when you can't speak what's on your mind, there's no right or wrong. There's your experience. There's your belief system. So when people can't speak what's on their mind, they don't heal. And there's no other person on this planet that should know better than Black women. Coming for this young man who just got, so, oh no, you're off the street and you're not Black anymore until you apologize. That's what one of the simple-minded bitches said. Excuse my language, but now I'm off. I'm off as life coach. You know, you're not going to condition me. And I will speak out. Especially if you don't know history, because this template, again, people with cluster B personalities always run from the same template, from the same software, from the same process, because it's that sociopathy. You got to have that pattern. It's an obsession. I got to have that pattern. OCD. I got to have that pattern. You know, make everybody else feel like they're wrong, and start trying to take away their livelihood and shit. They've already done that with me. So if anything, you should just really shut the fuck up, because they've already done that to me. This specific group, because that's where my gang started. The gang stalking started, as I've already stated. So I don't have any love for them. I'm not going to apologize ever for being intelligent and critically thinking, because they're not teaching critical thinking in the high schools or in the grade schools even. They're not teaching anything really but rhetoric. And it's the same people who are claiming that other people are anti-Semitic who are designing these courses to not teach our children to think critically. But they want to complain about it. So it's like, I'm going to create, and this is what narcissists do. I'm going to make you homeless, and then I'm going to come and try and save you with these EBTs, these food stamps, so that way you think I'm a superhero. But you don't know that I'm the one that caused it. Slavery. Let's talk about it. Who monopolized from that? You know, like there's so much proof. There's so much out there. This is not something that is just being made up. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's real. You know, and that's because I already know how it feels when they think that you slighted them just a teeny bit, that all of a sudden they will stop their lives. And that's when you see who really runs the world. When a group who's always claimed hidden under oppression umbrella, white as snow, but hidden under oppression umbrella, the real Hebrews are being treated like dogs and slaves in that country. I mean, we all see it all over. So gaslighting is trying to make you think that you can't trust your intuition. You can't trust what you see right here. So when you start understanding how cluster Bs interact and how they are so damaging on a micro level, you'll start understanding it on the macro level. Because of course these people grow up, and of course these people are politicians. These people are heads of state. These people are presidents. These people are police officers. These people are nurses. I mean, come on, dude. Jesus. And these women, these two black women, trying to make, one's a lawyer. These two black women served this black male up, told him that he would no longer be black. Like, how dare you? And then wanted to come to me. I had to tell her, you need to slow the fuck down. Because a lot of times people will come on this app and they will pretend to be like for social justice or whatever, and they want to get to make a name for themselves. See, when you're trying to make a name for yourself, you're not having, and you're doing it. You've thrown the integrity out the window. Like, I asked this with the one lady, because she calls herself Miss Jones. I asked Miss Jones, why do you think that you have the authority to tell somebody who can be what they can be? I wake up in this skin every day. Who the fuck are you to tell me that I can't do or be? But that is what it will happen. I've experienced it where I can't get my locks retwisted or done because the black people have been called out by myself and they're mad. So when you're mad, what do people do? They say, oh, you can't come here or we won't serve you. So this is my thing with black people. Black people have become the oppressor. You've become the oppressor. Many of you are toxic as fuck. I mean, like demon-eyed toxic. And you've become the oppressor. You are the ones that maintenance the real oppressors who are on their yachts, in their mansions. Look at Black Lives Matter. Look at all that whole entire team and how they blew up financially. Didn't pay for anybody's funeral. Didn't pay for anybody's legal fees. But blew up, living in Soros mansions and buying property and real estate with brand, all that kind of stuff. Are you kidding me? Oh, we didn't think it would blow up that way. You knew goddamn well what it was. And buying property and real estate with brand, all that kind of stuff. Are you kidding me? Oh, we didn't think it would blow up that way. You knew goddamn well what it was going to do. That's what you had the intention for. You didn't help. And the thing about it is, if you have a organization that states that it's for something, but you don't help anybody, nobody who had been killed during Obama's presidency that was black, where it seemed like there was a whole-on slaughter, which it was a sacrifice, because they're doing rituals. These are Masons. They're doing rituals. See, you guys, people really need to understand. People really need to understand. Yeah. And that's it. So people just keep dying. I'm so tired of people dying. Dying for what? Dying for no reason. Dying because somebody else created it. Somebody created something where we don't feel like we're safe. This is the world. This is not the world that I wanted to, build a family in. Yeah, it's witchcraft. I mean, everything has been, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's like, and it's the same people who have been doing it for centuries. This is how they came to power. How they came to fucking power, dude. So, and that's the narcissist. They don't want you to correct them. They don't want you to disagree with them. They don't want you to see them for what they are, And so to imagine that you have a race of people like this. It happens. They're in the black community, showing up mostly as black males. But you're gonna get your ghetto pass for both. Good, bitch. Take it. I'd rather be free. I would rather flippin' be free, and I'd rather free others. Like I said, it hurts my heart what this guy, the harassment and the slow death that this guy could possibly go to if he is not prayed up and if he is not in his power, because he just got, I'm thinking that he just got some type of housing. I don't know. I didn't follow him too deeply because it was so hard. Sometimes you get to the point where you're just feeling so much. It's just too much. In a apathetic world. Basically, these two nasty, disgusting black women, Miss Jones being one of them. Nasty, disgusting, Massachusetts twits. willingly sacrifice this guy to get cred. I bet you anything they'll start doing Marriott and, you know, whatever little ads and sponsorships on TikTok and Instagram. Watch. Give it a couple weeks. Give it a couple weeks, because you got every rabbi talking about, oh, I'm so glad that you stood up. No, there's nothing to stand up to. We have the right to say what we need to say, and you have the right to just sit there and take it, or stop doing evil in the world. And because if it doesn't matter if it's just a little group. She was like, well, there's a difference between Zionism and Judaism. No, here's the thing. When you, as I've stated before in other videos, when you are dealing with people with cluster B personality character disorders, right? When you're dealing with people like this, they body swap. I just got through telling you the experience with this woman, 60-year-old hag, trying to take out my soul and be in my body, trying to venom me, trying to have a parasitic symbiotic relationship with me. That is what some people have done, some races have done to survive. So narcissists will do that. They are body swappers. They want to be you. That's where the competition is. I'm you, so I'm going to take everything that I can get from you before I destroy you, and then I'll be you. That's how crazy these people are. But we're so traumatized in this country that we think that shit like that's normal. I have a favorite actress, Rosario Dawson. Right? Love her. She sold her soul, though. She sold her soul for politics. And it's weird to me to think that somebody, you know, that's so adamant, so lovely, right? So adamant, but you can see where she's been controlled. So lovely and so adamant about justice and rights and stuff, and talks so powerfully that could bought hook, line, and sinker. You're voted for a pedophile. You voted for an old, crotchety pedophile, but you're against pedophilia. Like, where does it stop? You know, where does it stop? Where we just see what is here, and to have people just stop because, you know, cluster Bs would be gone. You said, I got a troll trying to do that to me right now. They're mimicking me and me now, like I won't notice. Yeah. And and I don't pay attention. It's like, if you want to mimic me, then you could take on these bills then too. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't revote. I don't regret it, because it's like it's the same party. It's the same demon. It's the same demon, just different tentacles playing different roles. You know? It's the same shit. That's why I said, when you actually wake up, everything just gets boring. You know? Like, everything gets boring. What I like are sunsets. I get off on watching sunsets and I get off on watching sunsets and anime. You know what I'm saying? And I always wanted to do something deeper, but now I understand, as I'm talking to you guys, actually, now I understand that I am not spiritually made up to be in politics. Like, the personal is political. I can talk about it, but I'm not a part of any party or group. You know, I'm actually mixed race, but people think that just because I look like this, that I'm just pure black. Like, if that's a real thing or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to honor all parts of me, not have somebody dictate what I because of one drop rule. Like, oh, the fuck? You know, like, sorry for the cussing. I'm just tired. That just bringing that guy up again. Yeah. Winter is difficult, but I like the fragrances. I like to smell. I like to smell. I like to do incense and, you know, all resins and things of that nature. You know, sage, just anything. Where I was before, you know, there's some states have actual, you know, winter, spring, and fall. So, you know, there's always a fragrance or series of fragrances that come with spring, right? There's always a series of fragrances that come with winter, you know, cedar, pine, smelling wood, smoke, or, you know, but here, nope. Nope. Yeah, I'm a fall baby, so I like the fall too. Yeah, I mean, I'm in California. I'm in California, but we leaving in summer. I got to have some sanity. I mean, I got sanity, but I want to be free to breathe, and these actually, what worries me is that the cluster B's personalities here don't mind following you, and cluster B's are stalkers. Like without the gang stalking, they're still stalkers because you've rejected them. Because see, basically they want to get you used to a series of patterns of trauma and how they're going to traumatize you because that's the bond, right? That's how they're bonding. They're conditioning you to focus on them, to focus on their emotions, to focus on their finances, right? Because you're supposed to just live for them. And when you, oh God, yeah, yeah. I know both of you, Luan Bell and Jag Waters. Yeah, I agree. I've been trying. That's why I said it's like this is not the play. I knew when I got here after about a year. Yeah, it is. That's what it is. It's basically you're on their wheel of torment. You're on their wheel of torment. And these guys like to psychologically, people think that they're highly intelligent. No, they're not. They're not, but they're creatures of habit. They're creatures of habit and repetition. I mean, some are intelligent, some aren't. Like they keep trying to glorify them. And it's like, no, most of these guys are average, below mediocre. Like the women that I deal with, I mean, you got diseases, you got mental and physical disabilities. You're not making enough money. You know what I mean? So of course you'd be jealous at somebody else because they're not living up to below you, where somebody always wants to be high. How are you going to be higher than somebody else who's actually putting in the work in their life? There were times where I did not want to be present because I didn't want to be here. But now I'm so present. It's too much sometimes. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, you guys, um, go check out my Linktree link. Subscribe to my YouTube. I have a podcast, and my Instagram is on there. Of course, my TikTok. Follow me if you want to. Also, I have a 8-week program that I will be launching soon. That is called this From Sealed to Healed. And that is an 8-week course that consists of quizzes, book, downloadable workbook, weekly meetings on Zoom with me. You can also sign up with 60-minute for 60-minute sessions weekly with me. Those are normally $90. So if you're interested, and basically you get the time to go through your healing process with me as your guide. So if you're interested, go to that link. And also below that link, it's going to be the first one, From Sealed to Healed is what it's called. So below that is where you can subscribe to the mailing list. So please do that. Even if you're not going to take the course, I'm also offering $20 sessions for 30-minute sessions just for people if you need to talk, if you need somebody to help you figure out, how to strategize and also how to set up your goals, what you want to do with your life so you can have a better life. Because a lot of times that's what I had to do. I had to always keep in focus. What is it that I need to do? And because I always had somebody distracting me, I had multiple, irons in the fire, but they all related to each other. So, if they blocked me from doing this, I'd go and do that. Right. And I know sounds weird to say, oh yeah, they blocked me. Well, and they did. But they haven't gotten, so I just keep rotating back and forth to my other creative endeavors. And so that I can help you guys with that. So let me know if that's something that you want to do during the call, or you'll just sign off a waiver and whatnot, and we can get to the 30-minute session. So if that's something that interests you. Yeah, but make sure you sign up. The second box is the mailing list, and just simply punch your email in there. And then when I get the program ready to launch and you guys want to take it, then you can sign up, register. And with this, the core 8-week course is 8 weeks. And so it was the 4 steps to your authentic self and breaking free of cluster Bs, but that's a huge title. So it was suggested that I shorten it, which I did. We're calling it now From Sealed to Healed, meaning that your powers are no longer sealed. You've healed whatever damage has been done to you. And now you're living in your purpose. So, there's 2 parts to it, of course, the 8-week course, which is, learning the characteristics of people with character disturbances, and also learning about learning about yourself by taking the 4 steps to your authentic self. And that is reveal, heal, grow, and show. So if you guys have any questions, please DM me. And I thank you guys for being here and for following me. Continue to participate again. My goal is to get to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. Please go over and register for the YouTube, which is Phoenix's Rising Academy. And that's my podcast channel. And I also just do, right now I'm reading books. So if you're interested in that, in the book title, then, it's on there for you, and please engage. Let me know if it's resonating for you. I have one. I'm going to finish this book soon. This one book that we're going on soon. But I have one that I'm really interested in, because I'm interested in the supernatural and the aliens and the demons and, whatever. And so from talking about people with cluster B personality literally being demon possessed, there is a Lauren or Logren. I believe her name is Laura Logren. Oh, right here. So tonight's topic was about projection. Hope you guys got it. And appreciate the participation greatly. Because I just saw her. I wanted to put this out here, what she's about. But she talks about narcissism from a different perspective, and that's what I like. Because, Eve Lorgen, EVELORGEN. So, and she's a researcher.
Of anomalous trauma, which includes mostly.
So I'll see if you guys are. Oh, wait. So here's Eve Lorgen.
Mostly alien abductions for the purpose of this particular video clip. I've also had experiences of my own throughout my life and my childhood. And I suppose this is what actually motivated me to work with people and to delve more deeply into trying to understand
the
phenomena of alien abductions, alien visitations, and the surrounding kinds of experiences that will happen to someone who's had these experiences, which involves a lot of paranormal activity, sometimes post-traumatic stress, psychic phenomena. And in my experience working with people for about 20 years now, one of the things that I felt was very important was how their love relationships have been engineered, orchestrated, set up, disrupted, or broken up in some way by the beings that have been visiting them. And usually,
so she has a book out, and that's what I'm going to be reading from, is her book. And let me see what it's called. Eve Lorgen. Eve Lorgen. Oh, this is where I got it. Why the narcissist takes your soul. And so it's, anyway. That's how I came across it, because I was dealing with the succubus, the last one I was dealing with. And she was not a pretty picture. So anyway, you guys, I'm going to head out. Thank you so much for your comments, and thank you so much for holding it in there. Remember that your blessings are in your ashes, and I want you to rise. And if you would like to, you're interested in taking this 8-week program from sealed to healed, let me know. Go and visit the website so you can see that, the course is actually real. I am not going to leave you solo. I am going to be with you, weekly Zoom calls. And also you can schedule sessions that comes with the course. So, it's $345 for the course, but you can make 3 payments and that'll be charged to your card. And I am so excited to get this started, but it's not launching yet, but I just want you guys to get familiar with it. Give me some feedback on it. And also sign up for the mailing list, which is in the second link. And if you guys would like to do a blessing, send me a blessing. That would be great. Thank you so much and be blessed.